Time for monkey news. Can we have the jingle?
Oh, chimpanzee that monkey news.
I love the jingle.
Right, well...
Can we play that jingle once more?
Yeah.
Let me cue it up.
So, chimpanzee that monkey news.
Oh, it's brilliant.
Got a lot to live up to now.
I'll be honest with you, often that jingle is more fun than the monkey news.
Wow.
Yeah. So you've got to excel yourself this week.
Well, it's there's been a lot going on.
In the monkey world?
Yeah, I was looking at the Guinness Book of Records that we bought last week.
What you bought?
What that I bought.
Yeah. Is it still wet?
I was cleaning the tea off it. I was having a little read through, and there was some monkey stuff in there. There was this isn't the actual story. I'm just telling you what it's like looking up monkey news all week.
It's like behind the scenes. It's like the making of monkey news, which is actually available on DVD.
Exactly.
It's 12 minutes unseen footage, just the making of monkey news, which is my favourite bit in a way. If you enjoy monkey news, see how it happens. See, from conception to
it's all put together.
yeah, go on. Yeah. What's a typical monkey news day?
Well, there was some stuff about a monkey in the Guinness Book of Records. I think it had the record for asking for a cup of coffee in 23 different ways.
I don't know what to say. Oh.
That's good. Just to show the monkey news is getting bigger and people are covering it. Donald McIntyre, he was on BBC.
Yeah.
On Monday.
He was on Channel 5, wasn't he?
No, he hasn't moved over yet. This is something that he did for the BBC.
Right.
So that was pretty good. That was about well, it wasn't good. It was pretty sad, really.
What?
He was doing this thing. Do you know, like last week we were doing Cheap as Chimps?
Yeah.
And someone emailed in saying, Donald McIntyre's doing Cheap as Chimps.
Really?
And it was about...
I bet he wasn't. I bet Donald McIntyre did not do a programme called Cheap as Chimps.
They didn't use that title.
No.
But you could tell where they'd got the format from.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
And it was about gorillas and how much you can get one for. But the problem was, because they're that pricey, they were sort of... I mean, I don't even want... It is depressing,
if it's cool, then don't... Yeah, forget it.
Yeah, it was a bit...
Okay.
You know
I mean, can I just say, in the making of monkey news and Cheap as Chimps, not and your name is harmed.
No monkey's harmed.
No. Go on.
All right. Well, anyway, today's story was emailed in.
So you didn't even do anything towards it? So when you say I've been working on monkey news, what, you printed that out?
So is the making of monkey news you checking your email?
Well,
Brilliant.
no, I'm always looking at different options, how much is going on.
This is what makes me laugh, when he says he's really busy.
Yeah.
I'm doing other stuff and that. I'm doing other stuff.
People are sending in monkey news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get an email.
Is it
check
from
it out.
Reuters?
Well, listen, it's from Steve.
Okay.
Right? Now, what it is this monkey, right?
Yeah.
Don't know where it was. But there's a bit before the monkey anyway, right?
Jeez.
No, listen.
Shoot me.
Right? It's a bank. There's this bank, right? Busy bank. Normal day, everything's going normal, right? Busy bank, people going in, doing what they do, seeing about mortgages and stuff.
Yeah.
Everything's normal, everyone's happy, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, it's quite busy one day. Fella comes in with a gun and a balaclava on.
Up to no good.
Right, I'll tell you now, Carl. If this fella turns out to be any ape or monkey-related species, you're never doing this again. I'd never... so just, if you want to finish it, it's at your own risk. But if this fella who robbed the bank turns out to be a chimpanzee, that's the end of monkey news.
All right.
Okay, let's hear the end. It's a lovely day in a lovely bank. Everyone's happy.
Everything's normal.
A man comes in the balaclava.
Man comes in.
Is it a man?
Starts waving a gun around.
Shut up, Rick. Let him finish the story.
Starts waving a gun around.
Yeah.
Right?
Up to no good.
So everyone's thinking, oh, God, wish he didn't come in here, it's not going to be a good day.
How tall is the man?
Shut up. Let's hear it.
Everything, oh, God, and he's telling everyone to get down on the floor.
Yep.
In what, in English? In English?
Yeah.
In English?
So.
Yeah.
So everyone's panicking, everyone's getting on the floor thinking, this is it, it's all over.
Yeah.
Just when you think, it's all bad news.
Yeah.
It's all bad news. Doors swing open. Little monkey wanders in.
God, it's worse.
Shut up, Rick.
Little monkey wanders in, right? The robber's like, what's going on here? He's telling it to get down on the floor. I don't think it was taking any notice.
No,
right?
it was just busy asking for coffee.
It runs in. I don't know if it was going to withdraw or deposit or whatever. It wanders in, right? Goes up to the robber.
Where did it come from?
Shut up. Will you let him finish the story and then ask questions? That's only fair.
Okay.
Wanders in. runs up to the fella with the gun, takes the gun and the bag of money off him. Everyone's like, yay, you know, we've been saved. Then the monkey starts backing out with the gun and the money.
Shut up! Sit down and
I'm not having this.
And
Here's the end of the story.
It does a runner with the money and the gun. No one's seen it since.
You are an idiot. I mean, you have said some stupid things in your time. What are you talking about?
It's a story that happened.
No! What are you talking about? What do you mean it backed out? It came in, was it an accomplice? Was it an opportunist monkey robbery? What are you talking? Think, Carl! Think!
I know it's mad. That's the idea of Monkey News. We're telling people how monkeys are pretty, you know, they're mental.
Yeah. They're up to no good.
What do you think? They've never seen the monkey since. What, did he have a getaway car waiting? Did he swing his way to freedom? Where was this? There's no details. Don't talk rubbish.
Well, Steve emailed it in. He's got it off the net, and the funny thing is,
Can I
the
see
funny
it? Have
thing
you got
is,
the information there?
yeah, the funny thing is, it wasn't just him who sent it. I had that a couple of times, so a few people obviously read the story and said, you know, that'll be good for Monkey News. It doesn't say anymore. It doesn't say if he went off to Spain. It doesn't say, you know, if he's on Crime Watch.
Yeah.
It doesn't say any of that. It's just saying that's what he did. That's the story. And that's what Monkey News is about.
I've heard that they're making a movie version with Phil Collins. So I look forward to that and Julie Waters.
So that's this week's Monkey News. If you've got any, you know,
Well,
if anything's
no,
happening
don't bother.
in your
'Cause
town.
that's the end. No, that is the end. That's the end of Monkey News. No more Monkey News. This is, bit of Queen.
It says it here in this email, Rick. It's got to be true.
Right.
Willow. 25th anniversary year this year, and we have a Blu-ray to celebrate. And,
25 years ago.
wouldn't believe it, would you? Look at us now.
No. You were just a wee one back then.
17 years old.
17 years old. And now?
Now I'm 43. But I think we've sort of matured like a good wine. Look at us. Look at us there. It's a movie that's remembered very fondly by a lot of people, though.
It
isn't
is,
Do you
still.
find people say,
Can't go-
Mad Mardigan?
Can't go through an airport without someone saying peck, 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 peck.
Yeah, that's the most common thing people say to me, actually.
Really?
You started that.
Well, that's because that's what you were.
Years of abuse started by you,
That was a lot of fun.
saying peck.
Yeah.
So what's your overriding memory of Willow? Just think about it and use my name in this story. If you like.
It's you, Warwick.
Thank you.
So much love and heart. You were what inspired Peter Jackson's career. Aren't you? That's what you said to me
I like to
earlier in the
think so.
trailer. That Willow inspired
I don't think
the
I said
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, it would have been nice to be in it though, Peter.
Yeah. We were there first, though.
We were there first. We started all that, didn't we?
New Zealand. We filmed in New Zealand.
Yeah, we started that.
It was a lot of fun.
He was just following in our tiny footsteps.
Yeah, the producer was George Lucas. Never hear about him anymore. Sort of faded.
Right, extra features on here.
Yes?
Okay, we've got deleted scenes with Ron Howard.
Who's in it?
The making of an adventure with Ron Howard.
From Mort to Morphine.
With Dennis Muren. So
Willow,
Ron
an
was busy.
unlikely hero.
Yeah, now keep going.
That's
Personal
you.
video diary of Warwick Davis. Now that's the feature to die for. That's never been out
you-
there.
did you
before.
video?
Remember, I had my camera and you
I
kept
do.
doing stuff.
You know
It's
what I
all in here.
remember? It was the size of your torso.
Pardon?
It was a giant back then, like cell phones. They
Oh,
were
my torso.
Huge.
Yeah, there was a big old camera, wasn't
Yeah.
it? I looked like a little sort of mini
Yeah.
news team.
I'd like to see that.
It's on there. It's all on there.
You don't call, you don't write.
And then matte paintings is the final riveting feature on there. But they
It's
are
very good though. It
Very
it holds up, Willow.
And it's remastered
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
I mean, looking at us now, it's as if we've been remastered as well,
Nice.
isn't it? Do you like what I,
Yes.
see what I did there? Mm.
Yes.
So there you have it. Willow
Willow.
on DVD. We won't see another penny from this, but just out of goodwill,
And love.
we're doing this because we're proud of this. We're very proud.
interesting knowledge.
Carl is studying. Okay, what's the next one? What's the educating
well,
Ricky?
I don't know, see, like I say, I was looking around and there's stuff that is interesting, right? I was looking on the web.
But there's no point.
Well, it's just that I found one about,
What's the point?
about a lad who, 8 years old, but he's still breastfed. Now, I don't know if you can get anything out of that.
Is that what his mum said? What do you mean I don't know if I can get anything out of that? You don't need to.
No, it's just that, you know...
Where did you read that?
That was on the internet.
Oh, well, yeah.
You're always unspecific when you mention it. It's just it was on the internet.
Well, I'm trying to think what I put in. I think I put in Y to see if I'd confuse the computer. And then,
Go! You are...
No, I did
no, honestly.
I did a search, put in Y, and it came up with funny things that, like, why is this person doing that? Why is that? And it had a picture of this 8-year-old lad, sort of, you know, on his mum's nipple. And, it was saying, you know, is this healthy?
You sure that wasn't asking you that question?
What? I put in Y just to confuse the computer. Like the computer going, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Stop it!
Yeah.
Oh, look, yeah. Last week, I was walking, home with him, and I went, he was saying something stupid, and I went, I've got a competition for next week. Let's do a phone-in, and it's called Karl Pilkington, Genius or Fool.
Yeah.
Right? And he went, no. I went, why not? He went, well, it'd be confusing, because they say there's no difference between genius and being a fool.
You do though, don't you?
No, but it's rubbish, and people say there's a fine line between madness and genius, and, you know, it's a ridiculous soundbite. They don't say there's a fine line between a genius and an idiot.
Well, the people who do are idiots.
Yeah.
So what would you do there, though, just to sort of wrap that little thing up? What would you do? That lad loves his mum's milk.
What are you asking me to come up with?
No, I'm just...
A title for the story?
No, it's just what would you do? Right.
What do you mean, what would I do?
Well, it's causing a bit of a problem in the area, right?
What area?
In America, I think it was.
Oh, America are a problem, are they? George Bush is worried about this kid who's breastfeeding at 8.
Imagine it like this, right?
Right. No, so, Carl, what are you asking me? About this spurious story you saw on the internet?
I saw it on the internet. There's an 8-year-old lad, he likes his mum's milk, and it's saying, is this right? Should it
No,
be
it's
going
not.
on?
But what
do you want Ricky to do about it? It's not his responsibility.
Yeah.
No, but the little town that he lives in, they're all causing an uproar, right? Going, this isn't right, you know, I can't let my kid play out in case he's in the garden with his mum getting a bit hungry, right? So,
Oh, God.
What should they do? Because his mum's saying, well, he likes it.
Yeah.
And he, you know, so what do you do?
I don't know the laws.
No, but I'm not asking you to sort out the laws. I'm just saying, if you lived in that neighbourhood, what would you say? If you went up to him and said, look, everyone's getting a bit fed up with this, look.
I'd say, what would I do? What do you mean, what would I do? What are you asking me?
Right, it doesn't matter.
No, what are you asking me? What are you asking me and Steve and the
I'm
public?
just saying, say if you live next door to this woman.
Yeah.
Right? The kid's hungry, 8 years old, he's out playing on his bike and he goes, Mum, I'm getting a bit peckish, and he goes, alright, son. She whops one out. And he starts having his milk, right? You live next door, you're putting your washing out, and you see this going on. You're getting a bit sick of it, because it's gone on for months.
8 years, I assume.
Why is it your business? Why are you such a nosy neighbour that you're concerned?
What would you do, Carl? Let's turn it back on him.
Yeah.
What would you do?
What's your solution?
What would you do?
Well, I thought I'd say, right, why are you doing this? And she'd say, because he likes it. And I go, all right then, put it in a bowl first.
And you think that would sort that out?
No, because I was thinking about the whole thing, right, and you do that when you're a baby, and everything's alright, innit?
Yeah.
No one bats an eyelid at a little baby having a bit of milk from its mum's breast, right?
Yeah.
You'd almost say it was natural.
But you grow out of it. It's like, you don't see. It got me thinking about things you don't see. And you don't see...
Did you put this into a computer? Show me things you don't see.
What else don't you see?
Well, you don't see, like, an old man having a Twix. You never... So what?
You know the terrible thing about all this, Steve, is he's right.
You don't see an old
No,
man
I
eating a
know,
Twix.
that's the terrible thing.
So what they have got, right, they've made old man toffees, haven't they? They've come up with Werther's.
Is that a song? Oh God! You don't see it.
No, listen now. So they've got their Werther's, right?
Yeah.
So,
Look at him. You
Forget
think he's
it.
giving a lecture at Oxford?
it's not going anywhere.
No,
you
go
know?
on. Sorry. Go on.
I'm just saying.
Right.
You grow out of things.
Yeah.
And the old man, I'm sure when he was a kid, he'd have a Twix.
Yeah.
But now it doesn't look right, so he's having...
It doesn't look right.
So...
Right.
I don't think Werther's originals were specially designed for old people. I think they were sweets that just happened to have been made for years. That's why old people eat them.
Yeah.
They didn't go, hang on, there's a market here. I've noticed old people aren't eating Twixes. Quick, let's make some old man sweets.
But the little advert, he gives it to his grandson as well, doesn't he? He goes, I have a Werther's original.
Now, I think it cuts, though, before he throws it back in his face and goes, get me a Twix. And a damn curly-whirly, Grandad, you old fool.
Went and did the podcast. We had a meeting after. I don't like meetings, as I can't keep focused on what people are talking about. I think Ricky has the same problem as after 25 minutes he was trying to wrestle me. I tried to do what spiders do and stayed still as if I was dead. But Ricky just stayed on top of me, not moving. A bit like when you see one of them big snakes swallowing a sheep. Ricky got bored and released me. I went home thinking, why had I left my old job for this? A homeless man asked me for some money, but I didn't feel like I should treat him as I felt that he'd probably had a better day than me.
Oh, God.
Suzanne called me to say she'd gone for a haircut and that she'd meet me in the supermarket. I went to the supermarket, but she wasn't there. I called her and she said she was near the fruit aisle. I went to the fruit aisle and she wasn't there. Turns out she was in a different supermarket on the other side of town. And that if I'd listened to her properly, I'd have known that. I didn't want to say that
Well, you just went to the first supermarket you thought of, as opposed to listening to what supermarket... I'm in the supermarket. All right, bye.
I didn't want to say that I hadn't heard her properly, because my ears were ringing a bit from the wrestling from earlier. 25 minutes later, I met up with Suzanne. Her haircut wasn't that bad. Normally her haircuts are followed by an argument between us as she pays over the odds for some daft haircut that's the latest style.
Brilliant.
I wish she'd take a picture out of a magazine or ask for a style rather than letting the hairdresser do what she wants. I said I only tell her to do this as she's got a square head and a close-cut hairdo makes it look squarer. She said, what do you think of this cut? I said it looked alright, as I couldn't be bothered arguing about it. It's weird writing a diary. I don't know who thought of doing one of these first. The last time I did one was at school. They used to get you to do it so they could keep an eye on whatever you were up to. My diary used to say the same thing every night. Got home, went to the shop to get potatoes, bread, milk. Went home, watched telly, went to bed. I think I might have gone to Twiggy's Dance Club just so I had something different to write. You've not told us about Twiggy's Dance Club.
It's just, you know, I sort of, when I was a kid, I sort of gave everything a bit of a go. I did boxing and that, didn't I? Gave that a go.
For about 45 minutes.
And, yeah, a mate sort of said, oh, you know, you're into your dancing, your robotics and that, you're doing your body popping, right, body popping and that. He said, you ought to come to Twiggy's. And, I went there, but I didn't go in, it was shut. They were just having, like, loads of toilet rolls delivered. I think, like, they were, like, using it as a storage place for toilet rolls and that, so I said, oh, I've come to have a dance, and like, oh, not tonight, come back tomorrow. I never went back.
Brilliant. What a waste of an anecdote. Right. Brilliant.
Just to recap, you're convinced then that the teachers are asking you to keep diaries so they can keep tabs on you. And then to continue the diary. As there were more problems happening on the estate, they started to add Saturday and Sundays to the school diary to keep an eye on what we were doing at the weekend. I struggled to fill it on a Sunday, as the shop I got potatoes and bread from was shut on a Sunday. I had to go over to Shepherd's Bush to meet someone. I got the tube. There was a badly burnt man on the tube. It's amazing how the body can continue through quite a lot of bad stuff. It got me thinking about how much stuff you could remove in your body, one by one, without dying. If it was a competition, the cockroach would win, as it can live for a week without a head.
I just mean, like, say if, you know, they're running out of ideas for TV programmes and that, right? They get someone who isn't well. They go, look, do you mind if we make a programme on you? And what they do, they sit them in the bed, and they go, right, what we're going to do now is take out the heart, but replace it with a pacemaker. Right,
No. Sorry. people with pacemakers don't have their heart taken out and a pacemaker popped in.
All right then. Some sort of machine. What I'm getting to is...
Have you been playing Operation?
What I mean is... what I mean is the big finale would just be a head chatting with loads of wires going into it, and it's like, look what we can do with science.
That's what the programme's called. It's the same every week. The volunteer is just a head with loads of wires coming out
Look
of it.
what we can do with science.
And he's going,
Goodbye.
I feel ill.
Got some post delivered to me today. It was... Oh, this is
This
great.
makes it in the diary.
Got some post delivered to me today. It was addressed to Mr. Dilkington.
I don't know why that's so funny. Oh, God.
I got some post delivered to me today. It was addressed to Mr. Dilkington. I opened it, and the first sentence read, "Dear Mr. K. Dilkington, you're one of our most valuable customers." I put it in the bin. Thought I would learn some new words, as Steve always says I don't use enough different words. I read in the Fortean Times that the word "wew" means an ugly female ghost with drooping breasts.
What do you mean?
Is that how am I pronouncing
Who's
that right?
using that
Woo-
word?
woo-
Who is
woo.
using that word?
It was just W-E-W-E.
Let's call it a woo. An ugly female ghost with drooping breasts. I think I'm right when I say there are too many words in the world. I don't think I will ever get round to using the word woo. Watched a health programme. Wasn't watching it properly, but heard some doctors say that we only get so many heartbeats in a lifetime, so don't do too much exercise. I told Suzanne, and she said I probably hadn't heard it right. We got talking about death. Suzanne said she didn't like thinking about it. I said she might end up being a woo. I was chuffed as I'd managed to use my new word. I went to the supermarket to get tonight's tea. On the way, I stopped and looked in the fishmongers at all the different fish they had in the window. It's like a child in one of those kids' TV shows.
I know.
Mr. Pilkington went to the fishmonger. He stopped and looked at all the fish in the window.
Hello, Mr. Dilkington, they said.
There was a newspaper clipping stuck on the glass about a two-headed fish that they've made in Taiwan. I don't see the point in doing this, as a fish having two heads ain't going to solve the world's hunger problems, as the head is the bit you throw away. Invent a fish with two bodies, and I'd say well done.
Good point, isn't it?
Suzanne watched one of her favourite TV programmes. I've told her the telly only goes on if there's something she wants to watch. If there's nothing on, she has to talk to me about stuff I've learnt. Like Descartes. Watched a programme on him the other day. He is the one who said something like, "I know I'm about 'cause I dream." Doesn't work for everything, 'cause ants don't sleep. I don't know if I'd like that or not. You don't know if you would like it if you didn't ever
Not
sleep.
sleeping. It's just one long day. I don't know. Don't know how you put up with that. Do you think it'd be a good idea?
No.
Why not?
Because, as you said, it would get a bit boring. You know, your sleep is your rest, your time off. It helps you detoxify. It helps you sort of think things through on a subconscious level. You know,
But don't you ever get it where, I mean, sometimes it's brilliant to have a sleep when you're tired, but don't you sometimes feel
that's
like...
the best time to have a sleep when you're tired.
No,
yeah.
but sometimes when you go to bed and you're not that tired and you're kind of thinking, oh, I'm going to waste some hours of my life now and I'm not really in the mood for this.
Well, that's
sleeping.
just wishing you had longer on this earth doing creative things. I mean, if you didn't have to sleep, you could spend more time talking to a tortoise and going to the toffee shop.
What I was thinking about is, what is the closest thing sort of living that's nothing?
I don't know what you mean.
What?
What's like the closest, like, do you know at some point something's gone from nothing to something? Hasn't it?
No, I don't understand what you mean.
Something, at some point people were nothing and then something happened and they were something. Do you know what I mean?
But they were never nothing, were they?
Do you mean what is the first and lowest and most primitive and most simple form of life?
No,
He's right here in this room, Rick.
say like when you look at a stick insect,
Right.
you go, right, there's a slight crossover there from a stick to a living thing.
No, it's not.
It didn't used to be a stick.
No, it's not. There's no biological relationship between it and a stick.
But there isn't much difference between the two, is what I mean.
Of course there is.
It's a huge
There isn't.
difference.
They just sit there looking like a stick. That's their skill.
Yes, but there's nothing to do with being a stick. It's like camouflage. That's like saying when a soldier puts on combat gear, you're saying he's a cross between a human and a shrub. He's not a cross between a human and a shrub.
No,
is he?
but that's man-made
From a distance,
stuff.
you can't see him. That's the same as the stick
No,
insect.
but that isn't what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, have you seen them weird things that just look like they sort of look like a leaf?
Yeah, there are insects that have evolved to look like a leaf. So a bird thinks, oh, there's no tea there.
No,
That's
but
not a juicy insect. It's a leaf. I don't eat leaves.
Yeah, but at
Forget
some
it.
point, something has had it away with a leaf.
No,
What?
at no point has something had it away with a leaf.
No, to make it look that much like a
No.
leaf.
At no point did a beetle shag a leaf. There's nothing on a genetic level or molecular level, anything to do with it having anything to do with a stick or a leaf. It's superficial. It's the way it looks. That's all it. That's like saying chameleons must have mated with green once. They are green.
No, but
it
what-
looks like a leaf.
What I don't understand is,
It has evolved to blend in perfectly with its surroundings and fool predators.
but then how does it have relationships? It will be going around sort of having it away with a leaf.
No, it won't, because it doesn't know what it looks like. It doesn't matter. They do it with pheromones and attraction, and it's not like a stick insect will be talking to a stick for ages and go, oh, I've wasted my time here. This club's dead. Rude.
I was chatting to her. She was foxy, but she was giving me nothing.
But, Dave, that's not a stick insect, that's a stick.
What are you talking about?
That's a stick. You've been talking to a stick all night. I thought,
I can't believe it. I just thought she had a great slim figure.
no, it's actually a real stick.
And for those of you who don't know me, and especially if we meet in the bar later, my name is Danny. Do you want a pint? Danny, do you want a pint? Fornication. I'll read that again. For an occasion like this, I want to make sure I keep up the traditions of being a best man. Apparently, I need to get the groom to the church on time. Tick. I need to remember the rings. Did that. And I need to have sex with a bridesmaid. Whee. To be fair, I wrote these before I knew I would never have sex with them. Maybe when they're older. Never say never. And keep them away from pedo Rog. All right, pedo. Nice to have you. He's come a long way. Good lad. It's great to see so many people turn up to see Josh finally tie the knot. And about time, too. Nat's got it all. She's brilliantly clever, apparently really delivers in the bedroom. Like mother, like daughter, eh? He knows what I'm talking about. No. And I don't know about you, but I feel she could easily be a model, I think we'll agree, if it wasn't for her nose. When I first saw her beavering away, cooking Josh a meal, I knew she was a real catch. I've got no idea why her previous boyfriend cheated on her, but I'm glad he did. Cheers to him, wherever he may be. Probably shagging. No. Seriously, Nat, you're a real 8 out of 10, love. I mean that sincerely. And we're delighted you and Josh have found each other. So, everyone, please raise your glasses as we say a little toast to Nat and Josh.
I did my new book at home, you know, all the writing and the drawings and that, which, you know, should be a pleasure to do, really, you know, working out of home, but it wasn't. The amount of noise from downstairs, they've got builders in at the moment, and they're ripping the place apart, they're knocking down walls, they're drilling all hours. It's been doing me head in, there's dust everywhere, I've been breathing that in, which made me ill a bit. So that's when Ricky said, you know, if I wanted to get away from the noise and that, I could use his office to work in. But it can be just as hard to work in there sometimes.
Is that annoying?
A little bit.
Gotta keep it clean. Gotta keep hygienic, aren't you? You were complaining before that you were ill. So you keep your surroundings clean, then you will never get ill, will you? Oh God! Oh God! That was amazing!
So that's why I decided, you know, be easy just to work at home in the end. All right.
How would you go about chatting up a woman in a bar? What tips could you give?
I've never worked like that. It's always been like a friend of a friend and all that, and just happened to meet them, and then you know you have a chat, and then.
How did you meet Suzanne?
That was when I was working with her, and she gave me 20p for the hot chocolate machine. She never asked for it back. Thought she's all right. Been there sort of 11 years, so it works.
Has she ever given you that? You've never given that 20p
Never
back?
asked for it back.
And did you return the favour, perhaps on the next date? You buy her a Kit Kat or something?
No, I don't think I did. I think word got out that she liked me and that. And what did I do? I think I did some work for her, did some editing for her, sort of show off my skills and that.
Sure.
And she was like, "Oh, you're good at this, aren't you?" I was like, "Yeah." And I think she got us another drink because I was doing that editing for her in my own time.
So you're up on the deal, aren't you? Because I know now, I know for a fact that you've not spent any money on her in 11 years, so you're 40p up.
At least. Lawrence from New York says, I was wondering how Mr. K. Pilkington would interpret this famous saying of philosopher Ludwig Wittgenstein. The quote is, if a lion could talk, we could not understand him.
Even if he's English.
Yeah, if a lion could speak English, so there's no language barrier, he's speaking English words and using all the correct grammar and everything, but you wouldn't be able to understand what he was saying.
Why?
Because it is from a different world. His frames of reference would be so bizarre that you wouldn't be able to get a grasp on what he was talking about, because you'd have so little in common, even if he used real words.
No, but he's talking English.
Yeah, no, but his reference points would be just so far removed. You know, they're removed slightly when, if you saw two people talking about Kierkegaard, you'd
I
hear...
wouldn't understand it.
Exactly. So remove that 1 billion times to a different species with different input.
No, but it depends. If I'm talking to a lion in London Zoo,
Yeah.
he'll be saying, "Oh, I'm fed up of being stuck in here." I'll go, "Yeah." It's like that. It depends what his background is. I mean, there's some people who might have lived down the road from me, but have a totally different life.
Absolutely.
So it doesn't matter that it's a lion, does it?
Well, yeah, because they're just trying to remove it even more. So now it's not just a bloke who lived a few doors away. Now it's not even a bloke. Now it's not even...
Yeah, but I'd pick something smaller, or something, you know, a worm without a mouth. I'd go, definitely not.
What? Definitely not what?
I wouldn't be having a chat with it. I just think that a worm that's on the ground, what's it got to offer me? It's blind and it hasn't got a mouth. It's not going to be a good day out with it, is what I'm saying. It's not going to have that much to say to me, even if it's English. Right?
Even if it's
And how can you tell if a worm is English? Does it wear a very tiny bowler hat?
Oh, Christ.
But do you understand?
What about a jellyfish?
No, you see, I think that's where you can say you wouldn't be able to have a good chat with them, because to me, the sea might as well be another world.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
In a way, I think the fish sort of have more rights than us.
What do you mean?
Just because when whoever made the world, right?
Yeah.
Say, you know, we're just bigging up God, but if I was to have a go at him, I'd say you added too much water.
Criticism 1 to God, right?
So,
How would you have changed that? Just
more land.
Fair enough. Now, why have fish got more rights than us? That was what I was interested in.
Because there's loads of them, and when you look at the amount of sea on the world, right? There's loads of that. You only have to like you know, I was in Malaga the other week, right? And you know, you look in the sea, there's loads of different fish, and that's just in like 8 foot water. if you go miles out, there's like all sorts of weird fish, isn't there, with like lights on them and everything. So, and there's just millions of different types.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
But why does that mean they've got more rights than us?
just because I think, you know, rights come in numbers, don't they? If you know what I mean. Like, if there's one of you shouting, people go, oh, he's an idiot, shut up, whatever. If there's loads of you shouting, they go, oh, best listen to them, see what they've got to say.
Right.
And that's what I mean about fish.
Yeah.
There's loads of fish,
Right.
so
But they're not really making their voices heard, though, are they, Carl?
I know, because they're underwater. But what I mean is, I don't know what I mean.
Hello, everyone at Warner's. Thank you so much for getting behind the DVD. Hope you're enjoying your Q4 presentation. We're right behind it. We're going to do TV and radio and really make this a big seller. We hope.
What are they doing? What are they doing towards this? What is this all about?
Well, we're...
What do you mean presentation? Why are they having all this?
Well, we're motivating them to sort of go
You
out and
shouldn't need
sell it.
motivating. It's the job. They're either good at the job or they're not. If they're not, get rid of them. I mean, Alan Sugar doesn't piss about like this. If someone's weak, he kicks them out early. Why are we having a little presentation? When you say presentation, is it a night out? I bet they're all sat there going, what's all this about? Oh, another DVD, whatever. Get the drinks in, Harry. That's what annoys me. This isn't going to motivate them at all. It makes no difference. It's just another free night out. It's their job to sell this. Why have we got to help them get behind it? Do your job. Does this happen in any other job? Doctors doing surgery. I'm not in the mood for this. Let's have a presentation. Let's get the family in. Please help me, Grandma. She's not been well. She needs surgery. All right, let's do it for them. No, they just get out there and do it because they paid. So get off your arse and get out there. Waterfall. That means they have 4 of these a year then, does it? You have to keep being reminded of the job. Don't forget, you've got to get out there and get off your arse and sell stuff. Fuck me.
So thanks very much.
But we've talked about this before, haven't we? About the cloning thing.
Yeah.
That's a bit weird.
Yeah.
But I don't think it matters because at the end of the day, right, you might look like some other kid, but it's the way you're brought up that will change your features and the way you are, you know, your personality.
If you lie, you get a long nose, don't you?
Well, no, but listen, right, because I remember when we, you know, I was growing up on this estate.
This is going to be good. Go on.
No, it's not. It's just an example of how this doesn't work.
Go on.
So we don't need to worry, sort of thing.
Sure.
Right?
Okay.
So growing up on this estate, and there was this woman about 4 houses down, right? Who's a bit rough. All right.
Didn't fancy her.
Oh God, no. Right, but she had a
Why?
baby.
Well, tell me about her first. I'm interested in this woman. Why was she?
It was a very.
She looked like a man in a
I
dress.
mean, I didn't grow up in a posh house or anything. And I'm not saying that if you live in a bit of a rough house, you're a bad person.
What did she look like?
But anyone can
Tattoos?
clean up.
Looked like Tony Green with a fag on.
They didn't clean up much, right?
Oh.
Which, even if you've not got a lot of money, you can still try and make the place look nice.
Yeah.
Right? But she didn't, and a kid used to take a horse into the house.
Sorry. Whoa, Neddy. What do you mean a kid used to take a horse into the house? When did they get a horse?
Must have nicked it from somewhere. Must have done.
You've seen a horse in it? No.
What, is that from outside the saloon round the corner?
Yeah, was it just tied up with a bit of...
Right? And,
oh, that's great.
Big
Jake, come looking for it.
I'd been out.
Oh. Sorry, let me get this. This was before the lynching stopped or after.
Where did he get a horse from? What do you mean he must have nicked it? His mum said, where'd you get that from? I bought it. Alright then, but keep it out of the kitchen.
I don't want you going Catlin rustling.
Where did he get a horse from, Carl? And how long did he have it for? Was he leading it or riding it? Mum, open the door, I can't stop!
I can't stop it. Open the patio door as well,
Looks like we got us a runaway. What do you mean?
I don't know, but the thing is they couldn't afford to buy one because they're not cheap. So I'm just guessing. Maybe that's wrong of me. But I think...
He had a horse?
Yeah, right. So
that's why the family didn't have any money, they'd spend it on the horse.
No, I don't think, that's what I'm saying, I don't think they would have bought it. So anyway...
Yeah, it's wise to whisper, Carl, in case they're listening.
Yeah, and
they could be in the room next door.
It's not buying it, it's keeping it as well.
Oh, so I was like in the car with my dad coming into the avenue, and you used to have to drive down it to turn round. And, and you know, sort of go back to our house.
You had the traditional method of transport. Yeah.
And the horse was in the lounge,
Reading a paper.
just like walking around.
Oh God! What?
And when I was doing, I tried to earn myself some money once by flogging little flowers in plastic cups.
What? This is genius. It just keeps coming. What do you mean you're trying to flog little flowers? What do you mean?
Wait. Let's play a record. Let's play a record and come back to this, because the story's going to just unravel and unravel. It's going to go on for hours. Let's play a track,
deeper
Carl.
and deeper. It's
Yeah,
like
come
an
on, Carl.
onion, isn't it?
We've created a whole world here where there's a man living with a horse.
Just walking around the
I
lounge.
mean, I come from the West Country, I've never heard anything like that.
I just think of a big sort of like orange carpet and a rediffusion telly and this horse going, I'm fed up in here.
Exactly.
This is really...
I am not taking the rubbish out again.
Yeah.
Right, play a record. Let's have Velvet Underground. We've got that lined up.
Oh,
yeah, the
God.
classic from the first album, I'm Waiting for the Man. Let's come back to the horse in a second.
Little flowers in pots. What do you mean?
Classic first album, Velvet Underground and Nico, which apparently peaked at a disappointing 171 in the US charts.
Think of that.
And that's obviously Lou Reed, the Velvet Underground, and Waiting for the Man.
Yeah, great track. So, we were talking, we were doing White Van Man, and, we got onto,
genetically modified babies, but
and then
somehow
Carl started telling a story about someone with a horse, and then he got onto, he was trying to make money selling flowers. Just do the flowers briefly.
Well, hang on, I just want to recap slightly. So there was a family, and who had the horse in the family?
It was...
Because you lived on an estate in Manchester.
So the mother was a right pig, apparently. I don't know whether that's
you don't
relevant.
need to go that far.
But
what I'm trying to do is, like, make a picture for you so you understand.
What
a picture
like?
it
Who
is.
did she look like?
Bit of a... and no disrespect to her. Bit like Pauline Quirk.
Quirky, yeah.
Right?
Okay, I knew you were going to say that. Yeah. I knew it was going to be Pauline. Did she have any tats? Did she have any tattoos?
I've never got that close to her.
Okay, alright.
So who had the horse? Was this her son or her husband?
No, her daughter.
Her daughter had stolen a horse.
Yeah, from, I don't know where, there was I think there was some stables down the road or something.
And they kept the horse in the house with them?
They kept it in the house.
Did
but
they
didn't
get
have it
caught?
for long.
No.
So, and you said you were in the house one day and you saw the horse in
No,
there?
what happened was, I was, they did this thing at school about raising money for charity, right? For some local charity. And they said you can do anything to raise money, and they came out with all these ideas, and I thought, that's good.
What was the charity?
Well, I don't know, I thought, forget the charity.
Yeah, that's
I'm
just a good
charity,
money-making idea.
So-
You're a charity.
So, so I asked me mum for some, 'cause she used to have a lot of flowers around the house.
Sure.
I said, can I just take some snippings off them? And, I'll go and buy some plastic cups. And, got some soil out of the garden, planted the bits of plants in them.
Yeah.
Got a tray.
Yeah.
Had about 25 plants on it, selling them for 25 pence each.
Excellent. Did you sell any?
Yeah, so loads.
Did you just cut, you didn't just cut them and stick them in the
Yeah,
soil?
they wouldn't have survived.
Oh.
But I think people sort of thought, well, good on him for trying. But anyway, so I went round to theirs, because I thought their house could do with a bit of colour and stuff.
Yeah.
'Cause it's a bit rough. So, as I went
The
up,
horse went, thank God for that breakfast. They've been feeding me kitty cat.
so I got up to the door, and they opened the door, and it was one of them houses where no carpet,
Yeah. A horse in the living room.
You know.
We've all been there.
and the horse was walking around the living room.
Oh.
I looked quite happy and everything, because I always say that about animals.
Black Beauty
right?
was on. Yeah.
Well, think about it, right? If you were a horse, where would you rather be? In a little wooden hut with a load of hay, or in like a house with a
Central heating.
3-piece suite and a telly and that?
Telling you that!
No, but I was saying this the other day,
And an Atari.
right? I was walking through London the
Commodore
other day,
64,
Yeah.
rubbish.
Exactly.
walking through London with Suzanne, right?
Yeah.
And do you know, like homeless people always have dogs. And
Yeah.
she said, oh, I hope she looks after it. I said, that dog is happier than most dogs.
Right.
Because people always walk past and give it a pat on the head.
Yeah.
It's with its owner all the time.
Yeah.
It's out in the open, it's not locked up in a house.
Yeah.
It doesn't
You know what I
eat,
mean?
but other than that.
No, it does eat though, they're always alright. So that's what I was saying, I think this horse was doing alright for itself. Do you know what I mean?
Well, not many horses have got their own house.
Exactly.
For a start, yeah.
But anyway, that's
That's
what
by
we
the
were talking
by.
about. Yeah, so anyway, this family, who's a bit, what we were talking about, it was about cloning.
Genetically modified kids
Yeah.
and all that
Yeah.
stuff, yeah.
Right, now what I'm saying is, you could say, you know, right, Steve, you could have a baby, right? And Ricky could see it and say, God, I want one that looks like that.
Yeah.
Right?
It could happen, Rick.
So,
Come on, work with him.
so you take it to the doctors, and I don't know what they do, they inject it with something or whatever,
Yep, that's how it's done.
Yeah.
and, get a little baby, and there it is, it looks the same. Now the thing is, you separate, you both go off and do your own things.
Yep.
Right? Now, you look at Stephen, you look after your baby,
Yeah.
you treat it well, you give it good food and
I'm
that.
a good dad.
All the vitamins and stuff.
Yeah.
Ricky just gives it cheese. Right? So then it changes its looks. It goes a bit fat. You know, it gets tired easily, and that sort of thing. Now, when this family...
Why am I just feeding a baby cheese?
Right, this family had a horse in their house.
Yeah.
They had a little baby. And my mum went round and said, "You're not going to believe this, but it's a beautiful looking baby." Right?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, you know. And the weird thing is, it was a good-looking kid, but as time went on, they didn't really look after it. And I'm not saying, like, abusing it, but it used to run around, it used to play out till, like, 10 at night.
Yeah.
It used to chase cars.
Right.
It was a bit...
Did it have hooves?
Yeah, no. Chase cars!
Right.
What sort of kid chases cars? Oh, God.
Now,
was it called Rover?
The weird
Did it catch stick?
It's Liam, it was called, right?
Right.
Now, the weird thing is, it was a good-looking kid, but as time went on, and all that, like, not eating properly and its hair was all patchy.
It's not Liam Gallagher, is it?
And chasing cars and that, and it became an ugly kid.
It's definitely Liam Gallagher.
And that's what I'm saying, right? You can clone all you like, but at the end of the day, it's how you brought up.
Brilliant. Wow. Whoa. Life.
Wow.
That was a hell of a point.
Oh, God.
But am I right?
You're always right, Carl. Animal rights is a hot topic.
It's a big issue.
What rights should they have? We test drugs on animals, and we're basically saying if they die, they die. We'll learn something from them. People do make distinctions between animals' rights. They know that it's probably more acceptable to kill an ant than...
Punch a cow.
Yeah, exactly.
I told you, didn't I, about my dad's mate who had a monkey and he had to thump it.
What? Well, there's two things there. One, why did he have a monkey? Two, what sort of discipline is thumping a monkey? What was the monkey doing?
He was annoying his wife a lot and sort of, you know, pinching her arse and stuff like that.
Right,
No,
right.
that's
Wait
not
a minute.
true.
We've
It's not
never heard
true.
this before. How have we had all these years
No,
of
I'm sure
monkey
I
news and we've
told you
never
about
heard this
it ages
before?
ago.
Your dad had a mate who had a monkey?
Yeah, I'm sure I told you.
Why did he have a monkey? Just for a laugh?
Well, it was back in the day when people did. They all had, like, odd sort of pets and that, didn't they? In, like, about 68.
Oh,
In
1968,
1968.
when everyone had a monkey.
But he had to thump it. Now, the weird thing is...
No, that's weird enough.
Is this is all the story? This is the entire story?
No.
You've got all the information you've got is he had a monkey and he had to thump it.
Yeah, my dad told me about it. When he found out that I was into monkeys, he said, "Oh, Benny thumped one." And,
Benny thumped one. Oh, my son's into natural history, particularly simian variety. I've got an interesting fact for you, Carl. Sit down. What is it, Peter? Benny thumped one. Brilliant.
But what was interesting is the way that people are thumping other people all the time. No one bats an eyelid. Thump a monkey. People go, "You thumped a monkey."
Yes, they do. They do go, "You thumped a monkey."
So that's what's weird, isn't it?
But this chimp doesn't want to be caged and kept in a fucking council house in
No,
Manchester.
it was quite happy. And if
It
he wants to
wasn't
live like a
happy.
human... I mean, in the 70s... You know, there were all the teabag adverts and all that, and they were loving that.
No, they
and
weren't
people
loving it.
interfere, people go, "That's unfair." Now they're in like a cage in a zoo. You go, "It was better when I was pushing a piano up the stairs."
They weren't really.
They weren't actual delivery men.
They weren't really sitting down and having a cup of tea.
It wasn't a documentary. A week in the life of the monkey delivery men.
I love that. Chimps in a zoo now going, "Okay, now at least we were free." Huh?
Everyone used to drive a van
And
for a
we're,
living.
and we're on 58 quid a week.
Yeah.
They're not meant to be kept in a house in Manchester. Cruel to keep a person in a house in Manchester, so it's fucking cruel to keep a monkey.
It's not my sort of thing, singing and dancing. We've got enough singers and dancers anyway in the country. Why we still have Pop Idol and X Factor? Everyone's singing. I mean, this is a school. Look at them. They're not doing English and maths. Piss-arsing about, jumping to Van Halen. Where's the doctors? The plumbers? When I had a problem with my boiler, I had to wait 2 weeks because no plumbers about. If I need someone to come around and sing and dance, loads of them, but we've got enough. I haven't got a taste for it, honestly. This isn't like a big life-changing moment. Oh, Carl's finally found his destiny. I don't want to do this. standing there with your back against the record machine. Ain't the worst you can see. Well, you know what I mean? Come on, you might as well jump. Come on, have a jump.
I can't imagine you singing.
I've never been that embarrassed. Do you know I always say to you that you give me anxiety dreams? I panic and stuff because of the things you set up. And that time when I had a dream about being in a toilet and you opened the door and there was a big audience looking at me having a shit. It was exactly the same feeling I had in my dream as that. I just wanted to wake up and for it to go away. It was shocking.
And the weird thing about that dream, it's not particularly sort of Freudian or symbolic, right, as an anxiety dream, because I often open the door when you're having a shit to annoy you.
That's true, actually.
So,
yeah.
It's quite a justified dream.
That's normal.
Have a great time, man. I'll see you soon.
All right.
Hi. Welcome to Learn Guitar with David Brent. This week, we are going to warm things up a little. This is out there. This is a proper rockadoodle dandy, this one. It's a little bit naughty, you know, the internet. Let's say adult themed. There are a few rude words. No, come on. We're all grown up. Although if you have got any young children nearby, please discreetly take them out of the room now. If they're yours. If they are your children only, obviously. This is about my life, I suppose. I work hard, I play hard, you know that. And it's about me repping. I'm on the road all week, but I always make it back to Slough for the weekend. Compulsory. I don't think I've ever missed one. Go back and see the lads. I hang out with people a lot younger than me. Most of my mates are in their 20s. And they're blown away by me. They go, I cannot believe you're in the late 40, whatever. And I go, yeah. They go, but you're the most childish out of all of us. I go, cheers. They avoid me sometimes. I used to say, oh, where are you going? Oh, we're going down so-and-so. I go, I'll see you there. They're not there. They've gone somewhere else to avoid the embarrassment of me turning out. I find them. I find them. My round, I go, all right. Yeah. No, I love buying the rounds. I love buying the rounds. I go, put your money away. I go, oh, you're all right. I go, yeah. See you next week. They go, oh, we can't make it. They'll be somewhere. I'll find you. I always find them. But this is about that. It's just about, you know, enjoying the weekend, living for the weekend, living for your mates. And that's why I have to work so hard in the week, because it does cost a lot buying for, you know, 6 or 7 people every round, 2 nights a week. But yeah, any money left over, you know, spend on this. My money. Better than saving it, isn't it? I do wish I had more money.
I work so hard just to pay my bills. I play even harder, yeah, life kills. Now I'm burning rubber on the M25. Got a crazy weekend, some won't make it fuck it's Friday. Yeah, this is my day. Thank fuck it's Friday. I wake up Sunday feeling Saturday pain. Dry clean up 5 white shirts on the road again. A week in cheap motels, yeah, I'm earning my bread. As long as I'm back for the weekend, I sleep when I'm dead. 'Cause this is my day. Thank fuck it's Friday. Yeah, this is my day. Thank fuck it's Friday. Yeah, this is my day. Thank fuck it's Friday. Yeah, this is my day. Thank fuck it's Friday. Thank fuck it's Friday. Thank fuck it's Friday. Thank fuck it's Friday. Thank fuck it's Friday.
This song, a little bit of a foot stomper, quite hard hitting, very social. I like to sing about issues.
Bringing up baby on your own is tough. Working 2 jobs just to earn enough. Yeah, she could have been an actress, she could have been a star, but she went too far in the back of a car.
At the radio station, Hammond dragged us straight into a planning meeting with the show's rather nervous-looking producers.
Fill this in. So if we come out at the top of the hour here, you've got news, and then you've got sport, and then you've got weather.
Hold on a minute, it just says story there. What story?
So these are items throughout your programme.
Yeah, so we've got to think of things to talk about.
On the day we did this show, there was certainly no shortage of material. John Prescott, for instance, had been caught with his trousers down.
Is this not the single most amazing story ever?
And Charles Clarke had lost 1,000 immigrants. So what did James think would most interest the listeners?
Because when you're at the jet wash, should the bonger go off halfway through the cycle or at the end?
Also, the show was going out live, which could be a problem, given the loose connection between Jeremy's brain and mouth.
Right, the average weekly audience is about 250 to 300,000.
Not all of them are in invalid carriages.
Oh. Get this idea out of your head.
Sorry, you said invalid carriages.
Well, what's the weather?
You will make sure he doesn't say things like that this afternoon.
What?
Well,
right, now I want you to show me how I can solve this 8-foot gorilla. What do you suggest I do?
The meeting rambled on for ages, during which time nothing got sorted.
The idea of reading the news butt naked.
Almost.
And then, with just over an hour to go...
I still don't understand any of this.
So, at 1:15 and 1:45, there are the headlines that James can read.
With half an hour to go, Jeremy suddenly announced, worryingly, that he'd been working on a plan.
Tonight, there won't be a single queue or jam in this region because I'm doing the travel on this show.
With 0 hour fast approaching, even Jeremy got busy.
Got it.
As I acquainted myself with the studio, James set about mastering some of the station's other technical equipment. With just a few minutes to go, 250,000 Southern Counties listeners were starting their journeys home.
Richard, where's the turntable? Brought the records.
Jeremy, there is no turntable. It's 2006.
And they were all expecting their usual slick and helpful drive time show.
You've got your interview first, haven't you, as well?
Who? What? What interview?
You've got, oh my God, that's me.
I haven't got the... No, James, you can't just nick those...
MacArthur.
We were primed and ready.
BBC Southern Counties Radio.
Good luck, everybody.
Going to the bank holiday Monday.
Here we go.
Southern Counties Radio, I'm Alina Jenkins.
That shouldn't have happened. I'm going to fade it out, and then you're going to talk.
Right,
Is that it?
Is that your intro? Can I just say good afternoon? This is still BBC Southern Counties Radio, and if
We weren't what you'd call slick.
Can I do the weather?
Yeah.
I've lost it. Have you got the headlines?
Yeah.
I've got them.
Yeah. No, you do them.
I haven't got any headlines.
And the jingles Richard had brought along were dreadful.
So you think of this one, lads? It's great.
I've been driving in my car, listening to Jeremy Clarkson.
How much did you spend making those?
£5 a pop.
No matter, we would redeem ourselves with my new, brilliant and extremely complicated traffic system.
What I've done here is I've fixed up a link between the Highways Agency's headquarters in Godstone in Surrey, so I can see all the traffic cameras from all the motorways in the region. Now what's happening is we've got an outside broadcast truck at Godstone. It's firing its signal up to a satellite 22,000 miles in space, back down to White City in London. They're firing down to a switching station in Tunbridge Wells, and here we are in the studio looking, and if I can swing the camera around now, we can get it off the main pictures. I can even zoom in.
With full control of the cameras, Jeremy could reveal his big plan.
Instead of telling you where the traffic jams are, I am going to give you the registration number of the car that has caused them.
So, he's not just reporting on the traffic, he's bossing it about.
Brave. Now, who's this for coming down in a Volkswagen van? You're leaving a 200-yard gap there. Now, close up.
While Jeremy was shouting at the traffic, James and I were getting to grips with the music.
No, don't tell me. As promised earlier, it is Wang Chung and Dancehall Days.
Oh, you sprung that on me, rather. Do you want to do that again, James?
As promised earlier, it's Wang Chung and Dancehall Days.
Maybe just once more for me, mate.
Just play something else.
Oh, all right.
Oh, it's right. He's no idea.
Yeah, you silly. I'd just like to apologise.
BBC Southern Counties Radio Travel.
Hello, is that me?
That was slick. It was time for another of Jeremy's rubbish travel reports.
Oh, no, look! Somebody, here we go. Somebody in a... It seems to be a Land Rover Discovery has jackknifed while carrying a trailer. No, it's a 4x4, it's a good job it was, that's why he's still alive. Lucky you didn't listen to the Liberal Democrats on that one. The two outer lanes of the motorway, please get out of them, because they're blocked by an idiot in a Mitsubishi who's managed to crash into his own trailer. And people are moving over far too soon, which means that the motorway network is not being fully utilised. We paid for it, drive right up to the crash, use it, and then get your window down and tell the man exactly what you think of his driving.
Precisely.
Oh no, what we've got here is a travel flash, actually. My thanks to Janice. She tells us that in Dorking High Street, a caravan has come adrift of the car blocking one lane. The police are in attendance. Police, are you armed? I hope they are. They could take it out and just shoot the drivers.
Thank you very much. That's the travel with Jeremy Clarkson.
Even we could see the show was pretty bad. But then it got worse. Hammond mistimed a trip to the loo, and while he was in there, a song finished.
Hello? Is there somebody there? Is anybody there? Hello?
Come on!
Oh.
Then I forgot I was going out live. Well, he's ginger and he's Welsh.
Okay.
And then we upset the station's sports reporter.
204 for 9, the latest score. Karl Hopkinson 45. Rana is 26 not out. 3 wickets apiece for Dominic Thornley and Sean Irvine. As for Surrey, they're going much...
That happens.
53 for 3, is that good? I don't understand.
They've scored 253 runs and they've lost 3 wickets, sir. It is cricket. It's a game that's been played in this country for about 300 years.
What, the same
and why
game?
don't you get the Observer's Book of Cricket, which will tell you all of the regulations that you need to know, and then you'll be okay. Well, now... I'm sorry.
Worse still, my traffic system really wasn't working out as planned. The cameras were not able to give enough details, so my reports were becoming a little vague.
Jeremy, go.
It's all completely hopeless. Everywhere I can see people in Astras, M25, Godstone's jammed up at Junction 6, Barrow Green. Don't use it. Don't use it. Stay at work, be productive, and buy a helicopter.
It's not particularly helpful what you're telling them there.
No.
I therefore decided to personalise my reports.
Hello there.
Hello, how are you?
A bit fed up as I can't work out whether I'm supposed to be turning off the M25 or not. We're trying to get home tonight.
Where are you? So you're
I'm going anti-clockwise.
Anti-clockwise. You, my son, have had it.
Oh, thanks a lot.
I'm screwing it up. With the traffic system ruined, we were running out of things to say.
Which is, if you use a jet wash, should the bonger on each cycle go off at the end of the cycle or in the middle? If the bonger goes off at the end of the foamy brush cycle and you've only done the bonnet, you've had it.
The switchboard began to light up with angry listeners, one of whom was called Mrs. Smith.
Mrs. Smith. Hello, Mrs. Smith.
I came home from work at 5 o'clock, and what a load of rubbish this is, and I think it's absolutely dreadful. I've been an avid listener to Southern Counties for a number of years. For God's sake, bring back Dominic, Busby and all the rest of them.
Yeah.
It's all a load of rubbish. Thank you and good night.
With the locals ready to lynch us, we decided to get out early. This is a 9-minute song. By the time it's over, our show's over. We could. Do you want to walk through Brighton after the show we just did?
I've got the car round the back.
By the time this is over, we can be.
No, just back. Down the back stairs. Sorry, down the stairs. Yeah. Right.
I'm going.
Sorry.
MacArthur's Park is melting in the dark.
Hey there, welcome to the Drawing Codex. In this video I want to do a simple drawing lesson covering one thing. How do we draw the figure from different angles? How do we draw it from above, from below, etc. This is one of the biggest challenges that faces the artist at the outset, and even when you're well into your artistic journey, it can be a real stumbling block. And what I want to do is give you a few really simple exercises and ways to think about this so that you can practice. Now, obviously, this is something that relies on a lot of foundational perspective, and there's a lot of moving parts here, but I think there's a couple of key concepts that you can apply straight away, even if you haven't fully fleshed out your drawing foundation, even if your perspective is not 100%. I think there's a lot of things that you can take away and start practicing to make sure that your figures look as if they're grounded. Anyway, let's jump in and get started. Alright, welcome again to the Drawing Codex. My name's Tim McBurney. I've been a professional working artist for over 20 years, and on this channel we're all about drawing cool stuff from our imagination, embracing the challenge of drawing, and mastering the craft of line and color illustration. If you want to learn more about line and color illustration, you can check out my free quick start guide. It gives you my basic advice for how to get up and running quickly in Photoshop with a line and color style. I go over how to build a simple, reliable process in Photoshop, and I give you my tips for going from thumbnail to the finished image. I also give you all the brushes and all the basic stuff you need to get up and started with the line and color style. This is where we create worlds with simple line and color. So it's not like there's a lack of information on these ideas of how to draw the figure from different angles. The basic idea, as should be pretty obvious, is that we combine the simple idea of taking a mannequin, of taking a stick figure, and then we basically just rotate it in space. The problem is that's easier said than done, and it's hard to know how to approach it. In the same way, you can read Andrew Loomis's book, Figure Drawing for All It's Worth, which is great, and it has a lot of information there, but again, I think the challenge for me when I was figuring out how to do a lot of this is, what do I start with, and how do I actually make that apply not just to the standard human anatomy, but maybe how do we make it apply to more cartoony things as well? I think what I want to do is, again, try those two dual concepts. One is, again, how do we draw the standard mannequin, but also maybe something a lot more cartoony may also help us to understand how this functions, so I can demonstrate that to you. But basically what I want to try and do is give you a simple exercise that you can go away and either follow along with me or take with you and just practice in your sketchbook as you go. Now, this is one of those concepts that I think is really important. And when I was starting out, again, I'd have ideas and they'd often be stifled by the fact that I couldn't draw characters from all sorts of different angles. And it took me a long time to really figure out, how to do that. But I think it's important to note that often when we are drawing things that, you know, you don't always have to draw things from crazy angles. Not everything has to be some ridiculous, amazing angle, you know, where you're drawing stuff from a crazy, you know, sort of action pose where there's a million characters. You can see, right, like this panel here is a little bit like that. You know, there's tons of characters, they're all fighting. Camera's low. That's important. That's a little bit different to what I want to do. And again, in this exercise, because in order to do that, you kind of have to begin with the basics. You sort of have to really, really understand the simple way that perspective and boxes and box sort of logic or theory relates to the figure. And this is actually a really good way, just practicing drawing that mannequin and that figure from different angles. It's a really good way to understand the concepts of proportion and structure and just how you actually go about building something that kind of looks solid but is viewed from an angle that is maybe more interesting or exciting. Anyway, I don't want to go on for too long because I think you get the basic idea of where we're going with this. Let's jump over to the drawing table and get started. All right, here we are at the drawing table. Now, as I said, in most cases when you're drawing comics, you are working within a fairly limited framework of poses and things that you need to create, that you need to kind of make real from your imagination or from the script. In most cases, I think what you'll find is that you don't always have to draw a lot of these heavy down angle shots, right? It just doesn't often make sense. When you do, it's really, really important. But if we think about often, you know, if I take the basic idea of creating a Loomis stick figure mannequin, and if you're new to the channel and you're not quite sure what I'm talking about, there's a lot of other videos that I have on the channel talking about the concepts of creating a mannequin and drawing solidly. And I'll link to a few of the basic ones in the description. So check that out if you might get a little bit lost with exactly what I'm talking about here. But the basic idea, as you may know if you've looked at these concepts before, is that we basically just draw a stick figure. Now, you can think about the basic idea here being that maybe you might have a panel where there's a few characters, right, and they're talking. So there's lots of situations where you might want to frame a panel or an illustration or whatever you want to do, right? You might have lots of reasons. So again, I'm just kind of winging this a little bit, not being that technical with it, just for illustrative purposes. All right, but again, you might have some people talking to each other in a panel, and you need to do this kind of down shot. Now, that's useful, but in my experience, most of the time what you want to do is see faces and make sure that the posing is sort of clear. And this is quite a disassociated shot, and you may have a lot of stories and a lot of ideas that involve this basic concept of, hey, we're looking down at a scene. All right, again, there might be more characters over here. All right, again, just roughly transferring, all right, some of those ideas. Oh, that one's getting a little bit out of whack. But again, you know, there might be a whole crowd full of people, right? And now, if you don't know what you're doing, this type of scene is just an absolute unmitigated nightmare to execute on. So it is really, really important to kind of understand your basic perspective and all of that stuff. It'll really, really make your life a lot easier, and it'll make these kind of things a lot more fun. In most cases, though, I do want to point out, because I think it is super important to remember that in most cases, we're just dealing with minor variations, with minor tilts. So, and this is just my experience, but again, this is just practical advice if you're thinking about this. Often this is the thing that terrifies me, right? I wake up in a cold sweat as a young artist, sort of thinking about, please don't make me draw this kind of scene because it's just too hard. But what I found in most cases is that, yeah, there's a couple of things, right? You can see this scene is a little bit like that. We've got a few characters kind of from above, but the idea of having to draw extensive scenes where, you know, there's all these sort of dynamic angles, maybe in superhero comics there might be a little bit more of that. But in most cases, we're dealing with looking at faces and fairly simple shots, which is very, very similar to what you would look at in a film. We're often choosing shots for clarity, so we can read the character's face. Again, in comics or similarly in an illustration, you kind of want to see the character's face. You want to see them fairly straight on. And I think in most cases, this sort of thing is not actually what you spend most of your time doing. And certainly if you're doing illustrations, primarily often what we're talking about from a compositional standpoint is, it's frequently involving characters who are pretty front on. You know, if you deal with your classic sort of pin-up character, right, it basically is some form of this. Now, it might involve a lot of twisting of the figure, but not a lot of this need to make it grounded and draw it from different angles. But I feel like this idea of just learning how do we draw the figure like this, and then how do we do the opposite of that, which is draw it from below, right? Go here, same stick figure idea, boom, boom. Got a head there. Right, and then we're going to have arm here, right, something like this. And again, you can continue the basic concept as you go, right? If we want to do that from the back, very, very simple, right? We just sort of flip the character around, right, and then we're drawing this. So I'm just going to be putting in rough perspective to illustrate what I need, and this is typically what I would do for myself. And I'm just illustrating the different options here. So we will get to some actual exercises, and I'll talk specifically about what I'm doing and how you can pull some concepts from books like the Loomis books or other sort of how to draw books and sort of actually try and get your head around this basic concept. But again, you know, we do it from the back. It's the same thing. Right. So here the face is like this. Right here it's from the back. And the difference really is just what does that arc of the spine look like, and how do these limbs tend to bend, right, as a very sort of rough basic idea. So again, these are a little bit from above and, you know, below. These ones are a little bit more. The basic concept is the same. Again, the reason that you would have you know, some need to draw like a really kind of worm's eye view of something like this, I don't know why you would need to do that, but say you did. Again, it's going to be a very similar concept, right? Feet are going to be on the ground, shoulders are going to be somewhere here, right? Head is going to be up there. We're going to have some arms here. Right. So again, sorry that guys got a little bit squished, but again, it's the same idea. It's just a matter of how much exaggeration is there on this perspective grid, if that makes sense. Let's see if we can do better on that head. All right. See if we can find the form of that torso a little bit. Head goes there. Yeah, might look, that's a little bit better. But it's all the same idea. What we're doing is we're taking the basic concept of a skeleton or a mannequin or a stick figure, and we're just drawing it from different angles. As I said, the problem is that's its own challenge, and that really is what I want to talk about in this lesson and show you is how do we combine the concepts of box logic or drawing simple geoforms, which again is very, very much linked to this, and how do we find some exercises and things you can do so you can jump in and start practicing this. Alright, so if we look at the pages that you might find in a traditional drawing book that are going to be related to this concept, it's often at the beginning, and it's where we link up concepts of perspective. So you can see here some great illustrations of how the concepts of proportion and perspective and just lining things up are going to work in 3 dimensions. So this is really what we're dealing with, is the idea that if we understand the basic proportions of the mannequin, which you can find in some of the additional videos I've got that I'll link below so you can check those out. But again, I'll go over them super quickly in this video so you can just jump in if you need. And then it's just simply a matter of understanding how perspective works. A lot of it does involve this simple concept of thinking of a plane and how we derive some simple proportion from that plane. Alright, so the task is pretty simple. What we need to do and what is good to practice is just practice drawing space or a line that your character is going to occupy. And what we want to do is find these proportional markers. The one that I think is the most important to find and the one that you can practice finding is the halfway mark. And that essentially is going to divide the character around about the bottom of the pelvis or at the crotch area. This will also line up with the base of the hand. And this is a really, really important marker because, again, it basically divides the legs from the top of the figure. And this really is one of the major things that you're trying to do. So what you can practice doing is drawing that character in 2 dimensions. And then you can practice drawing them in 3 dimensions. Now, once you get a feel for the proportional division, it's a lot easier to add dimension. So if we, and again, I'm just going to be fairly rough with this, so apologies if some of these lines don't match up. I won't do this with a ruler because it's a little bit easier to just kind of see when we're doing it by hand, but some of these lines might not match up. The more accurate you can be with this, the better, and I'd say if you study your basic perspective with a ruler, it'll really help you to make sure you're not making errors based on simple errors of the hand, let's say. But either way, it's important to understand how accurate you need to be with these lines. So even if you're not using a ruler, you have to understand how likely are you to gauge proportion in 2 dimensions. If you're having trouble doing it in 2 dimensions, then it's very tricky for you to just magically turn that into 3 dimensions. So just remember that. The first thing we're going to do is just figure out how do we draw that character in 2 dimensions, and we're going to divide the mannequin up into 1 proportion and 2 proportions. As I said, basically dividing the character at halfway and that sort of crotch area, right? So we've got something like this. Now, as I said, I've got more videos that talk about this in detail. But this should illustrate the basic point. So what we need to find is these set of proportions. We got 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4 at the top. And we use these to define essentially where the head is going to go up top, where the top of the shoulders are going to go, and where the sort of normally this line is a really good line for where the breasts or the nipples are going to sort of go, again halfway up the arm. And this bottom of this 3rd marker is where you're going to have your navel and the bottom of the elbow. down below, we're going to again divide this second proportion in half, and we've got 1, 2. The top is going to be the top of the legs, and the second one is the bottom of the legs. We've got some feet down here. We then know that the hand is probably going to come a little bit above the knee, normally 1 hand length above the knee, somewhere again around there. And that's the simple two-dimensional proportion. Again, what we're doing is just making a stick figure out of this concept here. So this is where just, potentially copying these things or studying these or having some, you print out a version of this on your, computer or something like that, print it out, stick it up on the wall. It really helps to kind of make sure this stuff is fully imprinted into your memory. So it's important here that we find this halfway point. This division is really, really going to help. And again, you can fully study the figure, you can fully study all of these, but this is really the first exercise that I think you should apply. And this is the primary exercise that I think will really, really help you to just understand how to draw the figure from different angles. So in this case, if we transfer that proportion, right, so I'm sort of drawing it as a plane here, but this is just roughly to kind of illustrate things. Now I can guesstimate roughly where halfway up there is. But this is what we're dealing with when, all right, we can divide that up. All right, we can divide that up. This is where thinking about those proportions in 2D will help us in 3D. So you can see that if I find the midpoint, then it's very easy for me to roughly guesstimate where these other 1, 2, 3, 4 proportions are going to be. In the same way, it's going to be a lot easier for me to now guesstimate where these feet and legs are going to be. That is the baseline. And if we think about essentially repeating this concept again and again, it's just a matter of getting to a point where you line all of these things up. Now, obviously, this changes as you pose the figure differently, as you move things around, as the character moves. But if you're thinking about how to get your head around this in the beginning, this is where you start. And I think that can be one of the biggest challenges with this overall exercise, is just understanding what is actually going to teach you how to get better at this. It often is this simpler exercise where you're just thinking about, okay, let's make sure I can control proportion as I just adjust the figure and draw it from a slightly different angle, right? So if we take a simple, got a little sort of toy here that'll sort of help us understand this, just start by rotating the figure a little bit, right? Just start by trying to draw it from a little bit of an angle there, and then maybe you can draw it from an angle that's slightly below, and then you can maybe try draw it from behind, etc., etc. Just ratchet up the complexity a little bit by bit. That's one of the things that will really, really help you. This is where it all happens, at that halfway point. So what you can do is just practice the idea of how do you divide up that space. So what we're doing is essentially taking the fundamental principle of perspective here, that is the one you take away. And that is that we can apply whatever is possible with two-dimensional geometry to three-dimensional perspective, as long as we have a good idea where the vanishing points are and where the essential grid is. All right, so we've got a grid, boom, boom. So I can do the same thing here because these corners don't move in two-dimensional space, and I can draw a line between them, and then I know how to divide up that space. So this is the fundamental concept of perspective that will help you to initially gauge that proportion. So we can think about this, right? If we have like a lot of extreme exaggeration, we still can find halfway up. And it's this experimentation with this basic concept that will teach you a lot about how to change the camera angle. Now, behind this is the concept of the perspective grid, which I think is its own challenge. And this is where what we can try and do is understand the basic takeaways that we're going to get from perspective as it relates to the figure. But if you have to understand that there's a point at which you need to go away and learn perspective properly if you want to really, really get stuck into this. But the fundamental thing that will help you understand it is the box logic, or just viewing the box that surrounds your space. You've probably seen a lot of people talk about this, and there's a lot of discussion about this as being important for your drawing, to understand the grids and the simple idea of three-dimensional space. So this is like a perspective grid. It's a sense that all these lines are heading towards a vanishing point. And again, I'm just being very rough. Now, what we're trying to do here is increase our ability to visualize three-dimensional space around the character. And that's really all you have to do. What you have to do is imagine that as you rotate the cube, the figure rotates. As you rotate the figure, the cube rotates. And don't worry too much about the rest of perspective. Again, the more you can understand about it, the better. But at the outset, what we have to think about is just this simple concept of where these lines might be, and just make sure that as we line things up, things like our feet, things like our shoulders are lining up with each other. Now, again, that will change as the hands move, right? As the hand moves up, as we pose the character, obviously all of that changes. It's really important to start and again get your understanding of the initial perspective right, though, because it's very easy to move things around once you get the character feeling as if they're solid. So the first part of the exercise is, as I said, just study and get good at dividing up space with different grids. I actually have a whole video on this basic concept that is talking about how you draw straight lines. And one of the reasons I use a grid as a good way for you to understand how to draw straight lines is because often the reason we're drawing straight lines is to draw a grid. So the concept of physically being able to draw grids is super important. But what you do here with the figure is just draw some different grids and then try and figure out where the halfway point is. Again, that's not a very good one. Keep going, keep experimenting. Etc., etc. We can think about, again, that idea of drawing a character where we're at a worm's eye view or a bird's eye view whatever it is. The most important thing initially is really basic. Just get that initial halfway point there. Once you do that, everything else becomes easy. Now, how do we sort of connect up the figure with this? Because I'm sure a lot of people are, at this point, sort of tuning out because this seems boring. And I think that is one of the biggest challenges, is understanding how this relates to what you want to do and why is it important. Well, obviously, once we get this right, we can then start to apply it to everything else. If we don't get this right, everything else is kind of a waste of time. All right, so how do we actually apply that? What I want to do mostly is talk about how that is applied and show it to you, and give you a few little tools so that you can copy along, maybe try this with some of your characters or start to think about it. The goal here is that the more we can connect up figures and characters and interesting things with the topics of perspective, the more you're likely to get really interested in perspective and improving your perspective. If you can directly translate and apply the concepts that you might learn by studying 1 point, 2 point, 3 point perspective, etc., at improving your technical drawing, then you can directly say, hey, now that I know that I've got this a little bit more accurate, that means the lines that I'm going to use to line up my character are going to be more accurate. I think that is the goal here. It's really easy doing drawing lessons to get lost in the weeds about perspective and form drawing and the concepts of boxes. So what I'm going to try and do is, again, just show you a little bit more how I do this, so that hopefully you can get interested in learning the perspective if that's something that is lacking. And we can do some more basic perspective lessons on the channel as well. Let me know what you'd like to see. So the way that I start by this, and the way that I would apply the concept of those Loomis books to drawing and drawing the mannequin, is as follows. Let's start by drawing a character from above, as I was doing before. The most important thing that I think we can start with is just the center line. The center line is the thing that really helps us to anchor the figure. And this is similar to this center line here that is holding up the skeleton figure. This is an imaginary line running directly down the center of the body. And we can kind of really use this to figure out where that character is situated. So here we can, let's define some fairly sort of benign perspective here. This is all I'm using. So you can see this is actually similar to a box, right? If we think about a box being like this, what I'm drawing is this. Right, so I'm drawing the center of the box. You can imagine if there was a line there and a line there and then a line directly down the middle. That's kind of what I'm thinking about here. Where is the perspective? But I'm not drawing a box because in my experience, trying to fit a character in a box is not actually a good way to start. But in this case, that can be useful. Now, what I'm going to do is guesstimate the halfway point up here, from here to here. And this is something where, again, if you're having trouble drawing a line, right, again, thinking about where the perspective for that might be, and then trying to sort of guesstimate where halfway up is. If that's something that's troubling you, again, the more you learn about perspective, the better your ability to guesstimate that will be. If you're struggling, one of the things you can do is, again, formalize your drawing of these sort of elements and use those two-dimensional drawing tricks that we transfer to 3 dimensions, right? And see if you can find, bang, the center of that. So again, if I was to do that formally here, right, I'm just going to imagine that there is some sort of grid here that makes sense, right? So both these lines are going to some vanishing point, and I've got a line here. Boom. I'm going to try and guesstimate that's kind of down there straight. Right. Boom. And then we can do the same thing here. So this is really the one that is super important to get right. Oh, I don't have a big enough ruler. Let's see if I can. I'll sort of see if I can guesstimate it kind of there. I think it's somewhere. Look, it's. Don't do that at home, people. Get a longer ruler. But I think this is going to be. It's pretty close. It's somewhere around there. So that is pretty close. Again, my guesstimation, and if we were to look at the vertical distance here, right, that's kind of 19. Half of 19 is somewhere around here, 9.5. So it's actually sort of like pretty much visually and measurement-wise exactly the same. Now, that's going to change depending on how much extreme perspective you get. But what I would do if you're thinking about drawing characters from above and different angles is just start with something basic like this. If you start to get to the point where you're thinking, oh, drawing characters from above equals really, really distorted grids. So it's not just that we're drawing the character from above, right? It's that we're drawing these kind of really extreme perspective shots. What you're doing is getting two concepts mixed up, in my opinion. One is the concept of the camera angle and how much distortion there is and how much exaggeration in the grid there is, from the concepts of lining things up and thinking about where the camera actually might be in relation to the figure. It's a lot easier to start with very low distortion. Again, it's very easy here to jump into a whole another subject of camera lenses, etc., etc., etc. The point is that you can draw a character, again, like a small character that's like fairly far away. There's not going to be heaps and heaps of distortion on this figure because, again, they're fairly small in relation to the camera. With a much larger figure, right, that gets really close to the camera, right, we can sort of take this really close to the camera. Sorry, it's going to get blurry, but you see the closer to the camera we get, the more distortion you get, right? So again, sorry it's blurry, but you get the basic idea. The camera angle is relating to what we're dealing with here in terms of extreme perspective. Now, that's something where the more of this extreme perspective you do, the better you'll be able to relate this to this. But when you're learning, stick with this. Just make it a very simple grid where you don't have a lot of distortion. Once you've done that, you can ratchet up the complexity. Super, super important. And again, if you're struggling with some of these concepts, as I said before, go check out some more fundamental perspective exercises. A lot of those you can actually see and study within those Loomis books. And again, I will make some more in the future on the channel. So the basic concept here is, again, we've got these proportional markers, and I'm just going to guesstimate, right, some lines going along here, right, and we can also visualize some sort of lines going here that might sort of help us. And then we've also got, we're sort of halfway up here. Oh, yeah, maybe let's sort of guesstimate that, try and draw a line. And what we're doing is adding just a very, very simple modification of our sort of initial Loomis proportion and sort of drawing, where we learn to draw the mannequin like this. I've got a head here, neck here, right, shoulders here, etc. So we're drawing the mannequin like this. What we're doing is we're taking these lines which don't have a lot of distortion on them, and we're just making sure that we draw them from different angles. That really is all that's going on. Just because you don't have extreme distortion in your perspective doesn't mean it isn't in perspective. That really is just related to the lens and where we're seeing characters from. Again, if you think about going back to that, sketch I had before where it had a bunch of little characters on the ground, normally that's going to be taken with a camera lens that's quite far away, taking a big sort of scenic shot from afar, and you're not actually going to have a lot of this distortion. This type of distortion is going to be much more prevalent when you've got the object really, really close to the camera, and there's going to be a lot more distortion there. So just keep that in mind. Now, this is still perspective, even though it's not ridiculously distorted. What we're trying to do is get used to lining up the character and drawing them from above and below. So here we're just going to do above, and hopefully I'll do a quick one below, and then we'll do a quick little sort of more cartoony character to show you how you apply the same basic concepts to something with a little bit more different proportional set. A little bit more of a different proportional set. So again, the reason I feel like focusing on the center line is important is that really is literally at the core of what we are trying to do. So I've got 1, 2, 3, and 4, and here I've got my 1, 2. So what I know is that here, I'm going to have my sort of pelvic probably a little bit higher, We're going to have the pelvic bit here, and this rib cage is actually going to come down here. So really good to get used to drawing these forms out in 3 dimensions. And this really is the skill that's probably more important and is going to help you. The grid helps us line up these points. So here I'm going to have, we've got the spine coming there. We're going to have spine coming up there, and it's going to go into the head, just somewhere around here. Boom, boom, boom. Drop a line down there. Let's sharpen this pencil. So we've got our head here. The lines will help us find these elements like the shoulder blades, They're going to help us find the shoulders from side to side. They're going to allow us to line up, again, the concept of where the hip bones are going to be. But you can see that having this concept of the center line is something that's really easy to keep us honest, because we can trace the spine, we can trace the which goes directly up the figure, and we can use that to help us find these different elements, and that just immediately will get us a lot closer to having something that feels symmetrical. And again, what we're after now is we've got this grid this way, we sort of have a grid this way. We don't really need it for a lot of things, but this is where, again, you can line things up and try and imagine where we have symmetry. Now, if you wanted to get more technical with the symmetry, you could try and do more technical perspective work to mirror. Again, I'm just going to eyeball. And what I would suggest is you just keep trying to eyeball it until you get sick of eyeballing it, and then go and learn how to measure it. Go and learn how to do it technically in perspective, and it'll hopefully be a lot more interesting then, because then once you learn it, you can come back to this and you know that you'll be more accurate. As I keep saying, I feel like that's so important. It's important to fail here. It's important to try to eyeball. It's not a matter of like get to a point where you're a 10 out of 10 at technical perspective, and then you can start eyeballing. No, you are always guessing. You're always drawing cool stuff. Again, that's my primary recommendation: is draw cool stuff, and figure out what you need to learn from drawing that interesting stuff. And do a little bit of this type of more academic study where we try and apply these things, and then go apply it to your cool stuff, and then you go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. That really is the sort of magical answer as far as I'm concerned. That's really what sort of worked for me, and that's what I find typically works with students, is when they're constantly combining those two things. So what that means is sometimes you jump in and try and guess, and you fail, and you can redraw, and you can sketch around and try and draw something interesting, draw something fun, you know, try and, if you want to draw mechs, you know, try and draw some mechs from different angles. If you want to draw, you know, fantasy stuff or aliens, you know, draw some alien characters from different angles, etc., etc. Now, I've talked a lot about in other videos as well how to add the musculature on top of the mannequin. So for this demo, we'll just deal with mannequins, right? Because the process is almost identical. It's just a matter of thinking about, again, how the muscles kind of wrap around and look from different angles. But the trick here is, how do we figure out where these points of proportion are? So again, I've got this bottom of this third. Proportion is often where I'm going to have my elbow. And here, again, I'm going to find that I'm going to have a combination of, I've got the bottom of the pelvis here, and the hand, right, is going to stop. Right, hand is sort of going to start just below there. Got the elbow. Right, hand is going to, and this is where, again, what you tend to find is your intuition will be challenged. So the feeling of like, wait a minute, how long is this forearm? Well, I know from a proportional standpoint, right, if we look at this, that again, I've got that bottom of that rib cage. Just look at this and check, because again, this is a major thing that will come up. I've got the bottom of the rib cage. All right, it's going to line up with that elbow. Now, it's very easy to figure out the depth and the length of these things when you're just drawing it flat on, but it's very easy to become challenged and accidentally draw stuff too long or too small or whatever, or just kind of, you just get tripped up and you're no longer able to engage your normal natural drawing intuition. So it's important here to double check and remember your proportions. We can see again at the bottom of the pelvis there, that's kind of where the hands start, and the hands then go down, and they're kind of, you know, ending about halfway up this bone, or about, as I often say, one hand length above the knee, or certainly the hinge point of the leg. Whoop. So that is one of these things that's kind of quite tricky from a proportional standpoint to really get. All right, is understanding where these lines are likely to go. All right, so then we're going to have a line about there. All right, we're going to have a hand. If the hand was sort of extended, it would be about here. Right? If it was in a fist, it would probably be here. And here we've got the knee. Here we've got this. Now, this, I think, is often the biggest problem when it comes to drawing these things from different angles, is making sure that they connect with the ground. And more important, and probably the subject of a different video, is how do you do, as I was doing in that other sketch, multiple characters from the same angle and make sure they all feel like they're sitting on the ground plane. Again, this is where having a good sense of that center line will really help. If we know where that center line is, you can easily understand that the feet, you know, if they're just sort of planted normally, which is what I'd recommend initially to give them just a standard sort of pose, is they're going to be equidistant more or less in a standard pose from that center line. Now, again, the subject of another video is kind of how we modify the posture and get different feelings there. But just understanding where that center line is in space, and then just sort of placing the heels of the feet somewhere so that there's an equal distance from here to here is super helpful. And then what I'm doing is basically just thinking about where these lines are going out at different angles. So you can think about that from a two-dimensional standpoint. If I'm looking down, right, here's this line on the ground, here's the center line, here's this foot here, and here's this foot here. And what I'm doing is I'm saying, well, the feet are kind of turned outward, a little bit like they are here. I'm doing it a little bit more exaggerated to make the point. But again, just visualizing the space, understanding the center, being able to measure, right? Again, it's the same thing. Visualizing the center line, measuring that space or guesstimating that space. Again, visualizing that center, understanding the points, right? So if we reattach our poor little skeleton's arm, again, this is the visualization we're trying to practice, is where's the center, where is the wrist sort of point, and where's the other wrist point, and just visualizing the distance. Having that center line there is super important, right? So this is what we're sort of trying to visualize. Points here, points here, points here. And really it is that simple. It's just a matter of staying true to the proportion, understanding how important the proportion is, understanding how important finding that middle section is. And what I'd say is not getting too lost in the perspective, just understanding that what we need is almost just parallel lines, right? Almost all I need to know is that, right, this line is kind of at like a similar angle to this one. It doesn't even need to be too much in perspective. I don't really even need these to be going to the same vanishing point. I just need them to kind of be almost in an isometric perspective to practice this. Again, once you start getting this and you're able to place these things accurately, I think that's when you'll be able to experiment a little bit more and take it to the next level. All right, let's try from below, because I think, again, what that will do is help us to just reiterate, do the same thing again, but we'll deal with a much more extreme angle. So we'll have a basic angle there, right? But a little bit of, let's put a little bit of an angle here, right? So maybe the horizon line is super low down, right? Here we've got our horizon line, and again, what I'm after is a sense of where that center is. So I'm just gonna, now again, there's a procedural sort of thing here, which is obviously, you know, I could draw a big box here, right? So I'm trying to find halfway here. It doesn't really matter how big this box is. That's not really the point. All I need to do, you can sort of draw any old size box. Again, I'm going to run out of ruler. Let me find a bigger one. This will solve that problem. So you can see here that it's going to find center right over here, but that does give me a really good indication of where that's going to be, because all I'm going to try and do now is sort of draw, if we sort of try and understand what's happening from a visualization standpoint, right? I've drawn this, right? And what I'm trying to visualize is where this one is going to go. Now, it's not going to go there, right? I don't want to draw it that way because that doesn't look like it's going to the same vanishing point. I want to draw it so that it feels like it's going to the same same vanishing point over there, right? That's kind of what I want, right? And I want my horizon line to be somewhere there. That's kind of what I'm doing. Now, the line can be over here. It doesn't matter. What I'm after is where is halfway up this measurement, right? So if there was a line here or a line here, if I find the center between this line and this line, it will give me halfway up all of these lines. Hopefully that makes sense. Again, if not, it's a good example of how learning some more perspective may help. So here again, what I'm doing is this is the bit that will derail you if we get it wrong. What I'm trying to do is figure out where I place this line. Now there's a really easy trick that you can use, and that is to just measure. This is another sort of easy sort of way you can do this to kind of help you guesstimate. What I can do is physically measure. Right here I've got, right, sort of roughly, that's roughly 20, so 10 is going to be halfway up here. And if we sort of take a measurement here, that's 16 and a half, so 8 and a bit, right? It's going to be somewhere around there. So if I kind of draw a line between these, somewhere around here, right? Again, those things don't all line up perfectly. That's going to give me a pretty good indication of where halfway up is. Or you can just guess. Totally up to you. This is a really good way where you can start to apply these boring perspective concepts to your drawing, get a better result, get a better guesstimate, and make sure, again, you're doing that thing, building that muscle of applying the technical knowledge to something that's actually going to help you. The other thing you can do is you can try guessing first, and then you can do all of the things and see how far you get. You can see I kind of guessed about there, and it was a little bit down there. The point is that we want to get a feeling for where halfway up this figure is if we then start drawing the rest of these lines. Because obviously what I'm going to do now is divide up this top thing into 4 sections, and I'm going to divide this into half. And I'm just guesstimating at that point. Why? Because this is pretty accurate. And what you'll find generally with a lot of perspective is once you kind of key into it, once you kind of understand like, oh, I get what's happening here. I've got a solid indication. I know these are true. Then it's a lot easier for your brain to kind of guess the rest, if that makes sense. You kind of have the framework and the rest kind of fall into place. So again, I've got some of these lines going here. I'm not drawing them that accurately, but it is the same idea. We're going to have, what I'll do and what I suggest to do is kind of just rough it in first. Right, I'm going to have here sort of pelvic stuff here. There's going to be a rib cage thingy here. Again, they're going to sort of line up a little bit. Again, you know, the side of the rib cage will kind of line up with the pelvis. You kind of have that. Boom. Right. It helps me anyway to sort of visualize the spaces a little bit. Right. Take those sort of jelly bean. Take those. Where's a good place to draw here? Take the jelly beans, right, and add dimensionality. Right. Just think about like where is the 3-dimensional space there? Let's draw through. Right. Let's try and define that space. I'm going to have a spine that goes up like that. It's going to come back behind, right, from the spine. Comes back, sort of curves in. Oh, sorry. Let's get that closer. Curves in on the small of the back, goes out, and then comes in. That's that sort of arc that I'm trying to visualize. So it's there, comes back up here, right, and then it's going to insert in the back of the skull there, right, and then I can draw the skull, right, I know, right, can define dimensionality within that sphere, etc., etc. And here I've got, again, some shoulders, right, I'm going to place those shoulders. Again, visualizing, right, got sort of a neck here. Again, I feel like those shoulders could be a little bit, again, a little bit more on that line. Now, you can either rough in or guesstimate, make things a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller. If you run into trouble there or consistently run into trouble, again, one of the things that I'm facing is, as I often see with these drawing demos, I'm looking at this paper from a little bit of an angle. I'm also meant to be looking up at it from the drawing, so it's going to be hard for me to gauge how big that head actually needs to be. But when I rough it in, again, the things that will help me to visualize that are, again, thinking about where that center line is, right? So it's almost like we're sort of, you know, got the sphere, right? We're sort of chopping half of it off, and then we got this, right? And there'll be like eyes here. So I'm sort of trying to think about where that is under there. That will sort of help. And again, this is just construction drawing. So you know, if you're practicing these things, go crazy with it. Draw the lines, make it messy. It's you know, it's really worthwhile going pretty rough, you know, as rough as you need. But again, you know, might need to make that head a little bit bigger or smaller. Again, don't feel like when you're doing these exercises that you need to get the ruler out for everything. Part of this is training your intuition and your ability to just kind of wing it and see how you go. So don't freak out if, you know, you're like, oh, I need to make the head a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller. If it's really important and it's a really, really highly detailed illustration, then, you know, you might measure it out a little bit more. But most of the time with the mannequin, what we're after is lining things up. The things that will make the drawing really sort of awful are if, you know, the arms aren't lined up properly. You know, if the eyes don't sort of line up, right? If I don't, you know, if one eye's, you know, up here and the other eye's down there or something silly. Those are the things that are going to make the difference. It's easy to kind of make the head overall a little bit bigger, overall a little bit smaller. Make sure it fits the character you want. If you're drawing a manga character, obviously your head might be a little bit bigger, eyes are going to be a little bit bigger, right? Might be some sort of crazy hair or something like that on the figure. Who knows? Again, most of this is just get stuff in the right spot and then know the grid that you've got to line everything up on. But the good thing about proportion this way is that, you know, I don't even have to start drawing the legs because I sort of know where they're going to go. Right? I have a good understanding and a good ability to guesstimate, you know, where that line is, so I kind of know where those legs are going to go. Right? I've got a pretty good indication. Again, that's the heel of the foot. This is the ball of the foot. So we can't see it. This one's foreshortened, right? Coming at us. Again, that's, you know, its own little drawing problem that can be quite challenging to solve. But at its core is just, you know, going through things logically and kind of thinking about what you see when you're looking at a foot from front on. But as I said, I can either draw the legs or I could draw the hands because I know where everything is going to end up. We know what's going to happen. Now, I think probably, again, that's kind of where the bottom of that rib cage is meant to go, right? So the bottom of the rib cage is meant to be probably a little bit lower, right? Navel is sort of going to be about there, and that means probably I've drawn these shoulders a little bit narrow based on sort of, I think we're drawing sort of like a male figure. Right, so just going to sort of guesstimate where that is going to go, and we're going to line it up. And again, doing those things is totally fine. A lot of it is just recognizing the proportion. You know, you go through it, and then just, you know, I realize, oh, that's right, you know, that torso, right, sort of comes down and you know, hits the bottom of that proportion, right? So we sort of got 1 proportion, 2 proportion, 3 proportions, 4 proportions. And here, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So I just drew this a little bit small initially. Again, not a problem because we can go in and adjust it. And that probably means visually this head is going to want to look a little bit bigger. But that's all we need to do. I know that the shoulders are going to be there. Again, I know that the forearms are sort of going to be about there. And as I said, we probably draw the shoulders a little bit lower. Shoulder there, shoulder there. So as I said, it's totally fine to experiment, to push and, you know, play with these things, make the shoulders a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller. The goal is for you to understand what's happening, be able to troubleshoot. If you make a mistake like I did there, then you sort of know how to fix it. And mostly that you're just lining things up. So just remember, we're trying to line things up. Got the elbows are lined up, the hands lined up, the knees lined up, etc., etc., etc. I'm finding center, right? Center of that, right? Shoulders, boom, 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 etc. So again, same basic idea, very simple to apply. Practicing it can be a challenge, right? You've got to keep trying. You've got to keep playing with these things. It's very easy to make one mistake, as I said, oh, this proportion's wrong. And the trick there is just fix it. Play around with fixing it. Fixing it is just as important as getting it right in the beginning. All right, we'll do one more little demo where we talk about a more sort of cartoony character, and we'll apply the basic same concepts there. Again, just to reiterate and sort of talk about how you can apply these perspective things to anything. All right, so same idea, but let's draw a little character that maybe has some different anatomical things, but we'll apply the same basic concept. We'll draw it from above. So again, what I'm doing is sort of setting a grid that way, and then I'm drawing some kind of line to help me figure out what's happening with the character. But in this case, mostly what I'm going to do is just discuss how we can use the concepts of form drawing to experiment. So here I'm going to have some sort of those hip bones, but in this case, let's draw something that maybe is a bit more like a dragon or some little character who is a little bit more cartoony. So dragon sort of creature. Right, in this case, I'm going to draw, think about where that's where the center is. I've got, right, we're lining things up. What I'm going to do is line up, that's where the knees are lined up, and then I'm going to draw one of these sort of animalistic legs. Right, so let's transfer that over. Here I've got, again, from side to side. Right, there's the center. Right, we've got this here. Got that there. We're just drawing points in space. Here I've got my pelvis. Let's see if we can find that. This is tricky because we've got a lot of foreshortening here. Right, and then I've got this over here. Where's it hit the ground? Hits the ground kind of over here. So really what we have to think about is what is the line of, where does that hit the ground? Right, and how do I get that leg to sit there, right? So again, if we were to look at this from above, if I draw this line from here, right, here we've got sort of the pelvis, and what we're doing is drawing legs out, boom, out here, and then it goes back, but that is kind of underneath. Right, so we're finding that point of this, look at it from the side, it's going dunk, 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 and we're finding these points. And then it goes down, and we don't really see that, right? And then it comes out, right? And we sort of barely see that. So this is where, again, some of that perspective will come in handy. So now I'm going to draw our rib cage, and I think this is going to attach a little bit forward, so I still want to think about where that center line is going to be, but I'm going to transfer that over there. And so now what we're trying to do is find, again, like we'll have an arm here and an arm here, and we've got the spine wrapping around here, Right, we'll have a head. Bump, bump. And let's put some arms down here. So I'm just going to transfer that arm right over here. Let's have some big, chunky hands. Right, so we've got mannequin like this. Hopefully you guys can see this, and then we'll go, let's extend out. Right. Again, this is not a great design, mostly just because it's good to see all of these things working. Right, so we have a neck here, then we're going to have a tail. Now we find the tail by finding the point on the ground. Right, let's trace from there. We can think about what's happening here if we think about the side. Right, got pelvic bones, and then this is coming up here, right, curving round. Bonk. And at the front there we've sort of got the shoulders, and then this is continuing forward. Right, we've got some sort of thing there. And what's happening is this is the ground, and what I want is the tail to come down here. Right, although in this case it looks like it's coming a little bit more like that. So hopefully you can see how, again, we can practice, and again, hopefully you can see how that is going to turn into some sort of fantasy character that might look interesting. Again, just to sort of nail home the point, if we can sort of erase some of that out, and maybe, you know, put some extra sort of musculature on it so that you can see. Right, if we have some sort of arms like this. Right, leg. And here we'd have, again, some sort of toes. So yeah, again, hopefully you see that we could build that up if we wanted. And to me, you know, this is the sort of stuff that I was, you know, more interested in doing as, you know, characters that weren't, you know, typical humans. But the point is that just practicing these things, stepping through the basics, doing your simple division of space will really help. If you can do this right, if you can practice this and just keep going, you know, break out the ruler if you need to do it. If you're finding things are going wonky, as I said, go back, check your fundamental perspective knowledge, make sure that you're being accurate. A lot of the time, you know, these things are sort of going pear-shaped because, you know, as I said, we're trying to do a little bit too much of this extreme perspective. You're trying to do too much. Stick with something that's almost like an isometric perspective. Isometric perspective is where, again, the lines don't really go back to a vanishing point. They're just kind of parallel to each other. That will teach you the fundamentals of how to control these grids that underline the figure and the structure. Once you do that, then you can start to build out more interesting characters. You can start to play with, again, much, much more extreme views, much more extreme angles. You know, you could try something that is, you know, super distorted, right, where we're seeing like massive amounts of distortion there. Again, you ratchet up the difficulty bit at a time, do a little bit of this, And again, there's like levels to the degree to where you're studying. These are still abstract studies. Do a few of these things and then just go draw your normal stuff for fun, right? That's what's important. The idea is important. Having fun while you're drawing is important. If you find that these are tricky, as I said, go back and just, try and get your ability to draw cubes or some basic things as solid as that can be, because then you find that there's follow-on. There's a flow to how these things support each other. But yeah, hopefully that has been interesting. Let me know in the comments. This is a little bit more of a technical one, which I do sort of apologize for. And the real challenge here is that I think both as a drawing teacher and as a student, what I remember, and I still find this kind of frustrating, is that it is hard to know where to approach this from. There's 4 or 5 things that you absolutely need to get right in order to start rotating these figures around and drawing them from different angles, and there's no linear way you can do it, I think, that gives you some amazing solution where you just do A, B, C, and then all of a sudden it magically works. It's a progression. Again, as I say, people can get really good at drawing cubes, and then they, can't transfer those skills to their more interesting, fun drawings. And likewise, if you just kind of keep doing this, but you don't study the perspective, then, you're going to find it a little bit harder to draw these things from different angles, and it's certainly going to take you a lot longer to get those things sorted. So it's a matter of doing all of these things and trying to figure out where they fit into your art journey, where they fit into your particular way of doing things. And I think the most important thing is to look for failure. Look for places where you aren't understanding things, but jump in first. Don't be afraid. It's okay if you try these things and they don't work. Don't freak out. Just step back and say, hey, what do I need to learn? Which fundamental thing am I not getting? Am I just completely not lining these things up? In many cases, it is just one of the biggest problems that you'll face is just people will be trying to draw these kind of lines and they're not even remotely going to the same vanishing point. There's a lack of accuracy. So that's where, again, just building your ability to draw straight lines, to develop grids. Again, I'll link to that video in the description. Just making sure all of that stuff is solid will help immensely. But this is a long game. This is a long journey. If you're partway along the journey, then again, you probably sort of know that already. There's no trick. As I said, you got to piece these things together in your subconscious mind a little bit at a time, and you slowly build structures that support each other. But I think what you have to understand is this does work, and you will get better at it a little bit by a little bit over time. So good luck with this. Let me know if you got any questions or comments down below. And but that's all I got for now. We'll catch you around. Happy drawing.
I was on a plane last year, okay, going from New York to LA, okay, and me and my girlfriend were one side of the plane, there was the aisle, and the other side there were these 2 huge fat women, okay, proper fat. One of them just got on and went, "Can I have a belt extension?" "Yeah, of course you can, you've earned it," right? So, proper. In fact, I was thinking of calling the pilot out and going, should one of us swap with one of them? Otherwise, we're just going to Canada. Do you know what I mean? And one of them was even fatter than the other one, okay? And she was there, and she'd got on the plane with one of those takeaway buckets of fast food. Bucket! I mean, there's your first clue. When did that happen? When did fat people just give up? When did they go into a shop and go, oh, fuck it, just treat me like a farmyard animal? Really? Give me it in a bucket. In fact, just strap it to my fucking head, and I'll just... A bucket? Really? You want your meal in a bucket? Yes. Right? So, she's there, and she's chowing down, right? And I swear, she turns to her fat friend and says, "This is the best fried chicken I've had all day." But I'm not having a go. I'm not having a go. No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
Because even though it is their own fault, and it is their own fault, I don't know if you know this about fat people, they fucking love cake. They love it. They love it, right? And I blame the food industries, because you go into the supermarket and it's just packed with that stuff. Everything's packed with hydrogenated fats and extra calories and sugar and butter and everything, and they love that, okay? And there's always a big door, isn't there, to a supermarket? It's always, they've got a quadruple door, isn't it? No one's ever been too fat to get through the door of a supermarket, okay? And it opens automatically, so they don't have to waste calories pushing anything. There's just... And it's a good job it opens automatically, because usually it's glass and they can see the pie from down the road and they're in like that. Grazing, right? So, I say, keep the big door. Keep the big door. Sure, keep the big door. Come on, fat people. Come in you go. But when they get in there, it's all fresh fruit and veg. It's all whole grain. It's all stuff that's good for you, OK? Of course, they'll be confused at first. They go, well, that's not real food to them. They think Brussels sprouts is packaging, right? They're looking, where's the cakes? Where's the cakes? The cakes are over here, but the cakes are through a different door. But this door is human-sized, OK? So now they go, there's the cakes. They go, oh, fuck, I can't get in. I can't get through the fucking door. I can't. And they're starving. They go, oh, God, what's this? I've got to eat some, what's this, a banana? Right. And they go back, oh, no, I still can't. Back and have a carrot. They're back and forth for days, and the fat's fallen off them. Soon they can slip through the door and have a cake. They can't get out again. No, but I mean... But we've got to do something. We've got to intervene. And people say, no, it's nothing to do with you. It's up to them. It's their body. It's their life. And that's true, but we don't say that about wearing crash helmets. Or if you've got a heroin addict in the family, you don't go, oh, it's his life. He loves heroin. You know, you go, no, you've got to stop this. Please don't die. And you get him and you throw him in a cupboard for 3 weeks or something. You can't throw a fat person in the cupboard. You do your back in like me. But, you know... Heroin addicts, they don't weigh anything, you can throw them around willy-nilly, right? But, in fact, when they're lying there with a needle hanging out, you just get the needle and flick, and they just go into the cupboard like that, OK? Fat people, you've got to lure them in. A little tray of chocolates, and they just follow that anywhere, like that. But we've got to do something, because a third of the world are obese, and a third of the world are starving. The fat ones are eating the skinny ones' food, basically.
Oh, chimpanzee, that is only gonna write it down.
That's the jingle for Karl's diary, excerpts of which we read each week. Get straight into it. A band from the Conga have won the Best Newcomers in a Radio 3 competition. They use pots and pans for instruments. It says that the Conga is a poor, sad place. So why do people do that happy dance at the end of parties called the Conga?
Right, one is the Congo. There's no place called the Conga. They come from a place called the Congo.
Conga! Fucking hell, you're such a...
Met Suzanne at Euston Station. I said I would sort out the tea tonight, so I called the curry house. The fella couldn't understand me. I asked for 2 poppadoms. He kept saying, how many? I kept saying 2. He still couldn't understand. I said 1 more than 1. He understood. When we picked up the food and took it home, there were 5 poppadoms in the bag.
Oh, God!
Oh, God. There is a restaurant somewhere that sells knobs to eat.
No, there's not.
There is.
No, there's not.
No, there is.
It says that women can't eat too many of them, and if you want a seal's knob for dinner, you have to book in advance.
Right, it's gobbledygook. This is the ramblings of a madman again.
It's a trend, he writes. It won't last long. It'll be like hummus. Called Ricky and asked what the difference is between the mind and the brain.
Yeah, he did.
That's a hell of a phone call to get.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Ricky did explain, but I can't remember what he said. I wondered at what age you are when the mind kicks in. Okay. Ricky changed the subject and said there is an island called Spider Island. There's nothing but spiders on it. A bloke went to visit the island and said there was 1,000 types of spider in one tree.
What do you think about that? What do you think of an island that's just full of spiders?
I don't know, because you need spiders. I don't know what they do, but they say a world without spiders, like, wouldn't be good. But they sort of do something. There's something about if you did get rid of them all, it would have an effect.
Well, of course it would. Get rid of anything, it has have an effect.
Not everything though. Like I've said, you know, jellyfish and what have you.
Well, no.
It's 97% water or something.
Yeah.
So how much are they doing? Just give them another 3%, make them water. That's more useful.
Give them another 3% and make them water. Oh.
Right, look at it like this.
Jesus.
Look, I see it all the time now.
Go on.
You go, where are you going to someone? And they go, I'm going to Dorset.
Aye.
Oh, aye. What road are you taking? Don't know, just pop on the sat-nav. Now, that's a start, isn't it?
Okay. Let's act that out with me, okay? I'm going away for the weekend, Carl.
Are you?
Yeah.
Where are you going?
Dorset.
Oh, yeah. Are you getting there?
Car.
Oh, right. Yeah, well, which way are you going?
Don't know. Why do you want to know?
Oh, just making a friendly chat. Just, you know, I'm interested in geography. Which way are you going?
Well, I don't know really. I've got a sat nav in my car, and I'm getting there. And what do you mean? What?
Bit easy, isn't it?
Well, I'm not a pigeon. I don't.
I mean, you got an A to Z.
Well, yeah, but it's on a computer. The A to Z. What's the difference between looking at an A to Z and?
It's a bit lazy, though.
Not really. No. Why? Why is it any different that I've got it computerized so I can go along? A to Z's a bit dangerous, isn't it? It's a bit. Don't go to A to Z when you're driving along.
Clive, who are you talking to? Because we need to hit the road. We need to get going.
Well, it's this fucking idiot who wants to know what road I'm taking, which is a fucking boring thing to ask. Anyway.
Sorry, who is this twat? Because we really got to get going.
He's a fucking dickhead. I think he's an A to Z salesman by the door. I mean,
just tell him we're using the sat nav because it's the quickest, most efficient way to do it.
It's the quickest, most efficient way of doing it.
No, but look what's happened.
Who the fuck are you?
Would Columbus found America if he had a sat nav?
Yes.
No, he wouldn't.
He'd have put in America and he would have taken it to
He wouldn't.
America.
He only found it because he got lost. Now, if everybody just goes...
Hold on. How would an undiscovered country be on a sat-nav?
No.
Go on.
But I just
What's the difference between the sat-nav and the map in that regard?
Because I've found some lovely little cafes on roads I've never been on.
And I've instantly gone from finding a continent to a little cafe.
I love that.
Little greasy
I
spoon.
am off to discover the unknown world. Where are you going? Well, I don't know yet. It's the unknown world. What are you taking? Just a boat, all lazy swim, you cunt. I love the fact that he's so Luddite now, he's annoyed at the sat-nav. I mean, you'd have probably given Columbus a hard time. Oh, got a compass. Don't you know where north is, you twat?
I just think there's something in being lost. I never feel lost. I just think, I've had a diversion. Because you find new things. I'm forever going down...
Suzanne's asking the French peasant where the...
I just think, Columbus...
All right, what's the most interesting thing you found when lost?
Like I say, I found a shop that was like a fancy dress shop.
Amazing.
Do you need fancy dress stuff?
Dressed up as Columbus, went and bought a sat-nav, went to Dorset for the weekend.
You never go out. Why do you need a fancy dress shop? That sounds like the one thing you would hate is fancy dress.
Yeah, but I like looking at they have like a space helmet in there.
Right, so you found a fancy dress shop. Where were you supposed to be going that you had time to get sidetracked and go in a...
I think I was going to a meeting.
Amazing, that's the last time!
So you want to get lost?
Yeah, you don't want to get lost,
No, because I always give myself loads of time because I get lost a lot. I always give myself...
Get a sat-nav!
I'm just saying, that's how you find little treats along the way, and next time you pass it, or next time someone says, do you know where the fancy dress shop is? You go, yeah, I do.
You go, I have no idea because I was lost. I didn't know where it was.
No, normally I learn.
I'm not going to tell you, lazy cunt. Have you got an A to Z? Oh, that's harsh.
Yeah, find it yourself, you lazy twat.